Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this City Council meeting to order this Monday night, May the 2nd, 2016 at 7:03 p.m. Ms. Derry, would you call the roll, please?
Casey Brown.
Here.
Dr. Lee Johnson.
Here.
Rod Powell.
Here.
Daniel.
Here.
Tim Terry.
Here.
Lance Terry.
Here.
Thank you. If you would please rise, and we will have Pastor George Redden come forward and lead us in prayer this evening, followed by Pledge of Allegiance by our Greenwood High School Chamber Choir.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight thankful that you are our Father, our God. We thank you that you are in charge of the affairs of men and that you can accomplish your will on earth. And we pray that we'll be responsive to your will. We thank you for our city leaders. We ask your blessings upon our mayor and upon our council, and give wisdom to each of these and all of the city employees. We thank you for their services. Thank you for this city in which we may live and for the privileges that we enjoy. We pray that you'll pour out your spirit of revival upon our city. May we recognize you and honor you in all that we do. We ask you to forgive our sins. Bless those who have special needs tonight. And may your grace be sufficient for their every need. We ask these things in the name of Jesus, our Savior and our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. And I'll have to correct myself already. It did take me long to mess up. It's our Greenwood High School Chamber Choir, but they will be singing with the national anthem. Sure. Awesome.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may be seated. Thank you very, very much. And I failed to mention also, led by Miss Karen Murphy. Thank you very much. had any doubt about being American, shame on you after that. Tammy and I had the privilege of listening to the choir do that and another number out at the groundbreaking at Devon Crossing last week. And couldn't wait to ask him to come and do that for us here at the City Council. So hopefully we can get back to him. That was awesome. Okay. Wow, I don't know if we can get past that or not. I would ask the council to, if you've not already viewed, to look at your minutes for the April 4th, 2016 council meeting and ask for approval of those minutes.
That's all moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson? Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Daniel?
Yes.
Santana?
Yes.
Vice Terry?
Thank you. I don't think we get, Tammy, did I not give the minutes my knowledge into this one? Okay, we'll move on. Recognition and acknowledgements. I have one to make. I know everybody's shocked. I would ask that Ms. Derry step forward in front of the bench where this is. This is a proclamation on behalf of the people of Greenwood, the city of Greenwood, by His Honor Doug Kinslow, to publicly recognize Municipal Clerks Week, May the 1st through May the 7th, 2016. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the municipal clerk serves as an information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, province, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Now, therefore, I, Doug Kinslow, Mayor of Greenwood, do recognize the work of the week of May 1st through May 7th, 2016, as Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to the municipal clerk, to our municipal clerk, Charlotte Derry, and to all municipal clerks for the vital service they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. So, on behalf of the city, we thank you, Ms. Derry, for your service. And you signed it. For a while, I was referring to Charlotte, Ms. Derry, sorry, as the Mother Hubbard of Greenwood, and I think she might have taken offense. I only meant that she has the answers, not the age. So that's what I meant. Thank you. That is committee reports. Strategy County Board. I'm sorry. Yes. Tell me again. Steve, I'm sorry. It's the national anthem that got me on. Go ahead. Can't read or anything.
This is Kate Fletcher here from Williams Anderson to answer questions about that ordinance that we're going to pass tonight. So, if the council please, and would like to move her to the top of the agenda. She's driven here from Little Rock, lady at home, and just hopefully get her back home as quickly as we can.
Council good with that? Yeah. By all means.
Just to give you a brief summary, we did have our posting on the 25th of April. I think what month was it? On the 25th of April, we had our public hearing, answered a few questions. Didn't have a lot of participation from citizens, and tonight we are reading the ordinance, and she will answer questions she might have about the ordinance. Again, the ordinance allows us to start the process, starts the clock running for the 30-day referendum. And then eventually, when the bonds come back, we'll come back with a final document that tightens all that up, because it's kind of a not to exceed ordinance, and then we'll come back and tighten all the bonds and the rates and the terms up. I'll turn it over to Ms. Fletcher.
Thanks.
Well, I think you just made my job really easy. You just went through most of everything that I have. The ordinance was recently revised slightly following a review by Cruz and Associates. It will be the underwriting for the bonds. As he said, these are really just the preliminary documents that we have. Before final execution, our office will present the mayor with a trust indenture, a bond purchase agreement, a continuing disclosure agreement, and a tax compliant agreement, as well as the preliminary statement and the official statement in accordance with the ordinance that you will be passing.
And with this passage, will we still, our timeline will still be all right? Everything is
Yes.
forward?
Yes. Any other questions?
Did you want to go ahead and do the reading now before you leave?
We can.
That's up to the council. If you want to do that.
Council, got a yes? Got a yes? Okay.
So we do it now? I'll make a motion that we approve first reading.
Second.
Got a motion and a second?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Vice Terry? Unanimous? An ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed $2,500,000 principal amount of water and sewer construction revenue bonds, Series 2016, authorizing the execution and delivery of a trust indenture, a bond purchase agreement, a continuing disclosure agreement, and a tax compliance agreement in connection therewith, approving an official statement in connection with the offering and sale of bonds, providing for certain other matters relating thereto, and declaring an emergency.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to waive the second and third reading. Second.
Motion and second to waive the second and third reading?
Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Vice Terry?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Motion and second to adopt?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Vice Terry? Unanimous?
Make a
Thank you.
motion we enact the emergency clause. Second.
Motion and second to enact emergency clause?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Vice Terry? Unanimous?
Thank you. Good. Thank you so much.
On behalf of the Water Commission, we'd like to thank the council, administration. It's been a long road. 2.5 years now we've been trying to move down this path. And the next step will be to put it out for bid. We're shooting for the second week in May to put it out for bid and hopefully open bids at the June council meeting. And then we'll tighten up on the final ordinance at that point in time.
At what point and all that, will you decide on exactly how much you're going to need to borrow? Or
As soon as the bids come back, we'll put those final numbers in the document, and then the commission will decide whether or not we want to spend, because we have roughly $600,000 set aside for this project. We'll determine whether or not we want to spend that on the project, and we'll only finance partial of it, or if we want to just keep that in reserve, and then we can make those payments. After 5 years, we can make payments and pay that debt down quicker than anticipated.
Could you stick around? There's something I'm going to add that's going to affect you.
Yep, I'll be here.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Thank you very much. Have a safe trip back to the road.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you want to wait for Ed?
We can do, I was going to do it after citizens forum or moving to the,
Whatever you want to do.
however you don't like. Can we do that?
Sure, let's do that.
Okay, I've got a gentleman that contacted me, and it was too late to add him to the agenda. His name is Ben Thomas with WOW, and he's here tonight. Mr. Thomas, if you don't mind coming up. And he's interested in starting a new business here in Greenwood, which we're always interested in people starting business. We actually make money off of people starting businesses. And he's wanting to provide a wireless internet, and I'll have him explain. I told him we love to have the business. Only thing you need to do is probably contact in the Charlotte area and get a privilege license, which is $25 a year or 30 something. And contact maybe Ann Evansdorfer over franchise fees. And then he's wanting to gain access to water towers and add things to water towers. So the man on your left behind you is Mr. Steve Raddery. He's with the Water Commission, and he'll tell you when their meetings are. He may or may not, they may or may not want you up there screwing things on their water towers and nailing nails and making leaks. I don't know. But as far as us, we love the business, so I'll let you go ahead.
I'll keep it brief. We've been doing this 20 years, so got children in the Greenwood schools. My daughter officially represented the city for several years. She was first Miss Greenwood, so Lauren Weaver. So been around the community, got a lot of friends in the area, but more importantly, this is going to help the businesses in the city. I'll keep it brief, and it'll also help the rural residents that live in Greenwood or just beyond the city limits. So what I need to do is be able to set up meetings with the Water Commission and come back later to talk to the community or talk to the decision makers in regards to fixed wireless internet. Currently, we have 2 providers within the city limits. One provider that can provide the services that people need. We have a cable company and a telephone company. You go beyond the downtown square, a mile or 2, most people have one provider. Have an option of 2, but there's really only one that provides decent internet service so that you can stream. More importantly, so that students can do online courses, watch video. Currently, we only have one provider if you live at Jack Nolan, if you live just outside Jack Nolan, if you live towards Westwood, if you live anywhere beyond this, the ridge line over here where your water department has most of its facility, and you're a Greenwood citizen, you have no option. A lot of you live in the city, I don't know how many live outside the city limits, barely, but still within the city of Greenwood, but you're a rural resident. Currently, if you were to call and try and sign up for internet service, just towards the Witcherville direction, but still a Greenwood resident, you have no option. The phone company is telling you, no, we cannot sign you up, we're sold out. So you may not realize that, because you live here, you have good cable internet. So what I propose is, and we've already been approved in the city of Charleston. We're on their water tower, we're on their city hall, we provide free service at their city hall. We're in Marlin right now. You mentioned Chaffee Crossing, we have 2 businesses. The Stonehouse Restaurant uses our internet service, a lot of people eat there. There's a lot of places, and another business within Chaffee that use our service because the cable company is not there yet. It's fixed wireless, it's very simple. We bring fiber to certain towers, and we'll shoot it wirelessly to your home. Currently, we'll be able to offer speeds up to 15 megs, but you can stream video, 3 video streamers, you can do Netflix, but more importantly, you can have students that go to UAFS that need to do online courses, maybe just a mile beyond the city limits. They can't take those online courses right now. They're trying to set up their satellite internet, which we offer also. The services run out. And I can just name the number of people that have contacted us in this area. Now, why am I coming to the city of Greenwood? It's a bigger town than I usually come into because there is a competitor here with the cable company. Because I live here. My kids go to school here, and it makes it convenient. But currently, we're targeting anywhere east of Fort Smith. Like I said, we started with the city of Charleston. We're investing now. We'll be going to Cecil next. The city of Ozark has approved us through their internet committee. I have a meeting next Monday night where they'll probably approve the contract to be a second provider in their city of high-speed internet service. So I can give you a simple sheet that you can just look at, so you have something to look at for the next time we meet. But essentially, it's fiber to air. It's fiber to the tower. We shoot it wirelessly to your home.
So you want to use our water towers as the towers?
We're already in Greenwood right now on Bell Park. Spirit 1063, Family Communications owns it. And we're on their tower, which covers quite an area. We're just not advertising it. I think I'm advertising a little bit on radio now. And the whole reason I'm looking at the water towers is you have several good water towers They're already structured. We don't drill into them. We don't weld onto them. Generally, you put something about 2 items this big on them, an antenna smaller than the flags, and then generally the round antenna, maybe 4 foot, what size of an arm. They're all over the country. There's 2 of the largest home companies in the country just got approved for hundreds of millions of dollars to do Wyoming in their rural areas because they have towns that have no cable. All they have is satellite option, and they're going to utilize fixed wireless. There's not a whole lot of companies around here that do fixed wireless, but there are companies all over the state of Arkansas. So we're partnering with a company called Hillbilly Wireless that covers, they're actually the largest land internet provider in the state of Arkansas. They serve less than 2,000 customers, but they cover a larger area than all 3 of the major phone companies in the state, and any cable company. So they cover almost the entire northeast from Jonesboro past Searcy, and their partner is helping us build our network. Currently, we have 12 towers up and running. The reason we want to know about the water towers is they're already there, and a couple of them are in perfect spots. If they don't have internet to them now for telemetry, that would be a free service that we provide so that they can use cell phones. I don't know if all your towers have telemetry, we can talk about that later. But if they don't have power to them, then we bring power to them so that you could offer telemetry, so that you can use smartphones to turn off the line valves that want to flow through them, whatever. Now, also with the fire chief that's here is Stuart Bryant, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. We are partnering with Sebastian County. We've been approved, and the judge didn't sign it today, but he's going to sign it. Judge Hudson will sign it. There's a Witcherville Tower. So the added benefit to the citizens are in a major disaster, tornado, flood, horrible fire, massive manhunt, if something really bad would occur. We're going to work on a mobile command vehicle for Sebastian County. We're going to work with Jeff Turner on that. And we're going to provide, if something were to happen, he has the vehicle, we will show up on our ridge line, our manager, our technicians, our tower climbers that already work for us, they show up, and it's Greenwood, and we can give them mobile internet, high-speed internet, not utilizing cell phones, because we know during a disaster, cell phones sometimes do that. And we will help provide that as a free service to Sebastian County for the major disasters that occur. So we're already working on that project. I've already later, but it's really Jeff that talks about that. We can also do the same with the city of Greenwood. Be able to provide a fixed wireless setting so they can have 4 or 5 computers working in the event of a major disaster before Red Crossing needs there within hours, within an hour, actually. But our service does not cover everywhere, so eventually we want it to cover all the citizens in Greenwood. And that's the gist of it. Give you another option. We're also going to try and launch a low price plan because there's some people who need more affordable than that, and the lowest price for streaming is quite a bit more than what some people want to pay.
Mr. Thomas, as I said, your competitors have a franchise agreement with the City of Greenwood, so if you get with Ms. Evans Dorfer, she's financial director, she can tell you what that is. So whatever you know with the Greenwood address, you put that up and remit it back to the City of Greenwood. If you've done this with other towns, you're used to that. Other than that, water, wastewater, they'll decide whether they want people up there hammering nails into their water.
Do you have an agreement, I suppose, that you would want to propose?
Yeah, we have a multi-page and a one-page. Some people want a one-page, multi-page. I didn't bring it tonight. I thought I'd bring it. I thought, well, I know I just need to talk to you first. Sometimes this takes several months.
5-year term is what you're seeking?
Yep. And it's a multi-page agreement. Basic says we trade out services. There may be some needs that you have some rural offices that need service to. A rural fire department buildings up that you're in control of that can't get internet to now. And then, the biggest points for the city council on business week, you've got a large blue building here on Highway 10 that's not rented out. If some large corporation comes in, a lot of those companies want 2 providers to provide high-speed internet. And we could have them high-speed internet as the second provider, or backup provider. Well, what if somebody wanted to launch a business on Highway 96 and nobody can provide them high-speed internet? With wireless, you can. And that's the reason the city Ozark is meeting with us. They've lost 2 accounts on Interstate 40, large businesses that did not open that. And so they actually came to me. They have an internet committee. And so we've been working on it for 6 months. Look at that in the long term is what if somebody tried to buy land off of 10 and off of, and Cox didn't go that far, what would you do? You might lose that business.
Ben, maybe you said this. How many total units would you install around the
Well, ultimately, enough to cover almost everyone, because we do
I
things.
mean, we've got the large tower out, elevated tank, and then of
I've
course
seen
the plant.
the one that benefits the most, there's 3 or 4 that I've seen. The one up here on this ridge line up here, from Mount Harmon. And we've got the one over here near Shadow Lake, West Point. But not necessarily every one of them, but the ones that are available, that help the citizens. Like I said, Longdale Park now, we've got a few customers, but we haven't tried to aggressively pursue the area. The technology is wireless, so as you can imagine, it's changing very fast. So by the year 2020, the speeds will match what you can match with any other provider, but you have to have a network with that. And initially, I'm just trying to satisfy the needs of some small businesses, give the customers an option, so that the other people just don't keep going up and up, which is what's happening. The other people are not going to stop going up until they have a good competitor, and that's what I want. And then you have the people just on the other side of Jack Hole, and you have no option. And just on the other side of the ridge line of Mount Harmon, you have no option. And they can't even sign up with their local telephone company because they're sold out in there. So to help those people also. So everyone that's available to, any height that's available, if we can work an agreement and they like to do it, or if they need services, and the council and the water commission would be open to it. Any questions?
Councilman? Further question?
Mr. Ryder, you see, I mean, do you have any reservations about this?
Well, there's
Most people do.
there's always going to be reservations, but it's one of those things we just need to evaluate it with an open mind and see what the options are, and then come back and, you know, there's always going to be a little resistance here and there. And if it provides benefit for the city, then it's a good thing.
These cables that are running down, sound like you're gonna, not like you said, drill in or anything, the cables that are running down the tower itself, are they loose up against the tower, then they're
They're
attached?
ladder racks or whatever, they're Cat 5 shielded,
Right.
ultraviolet Ethernet cable, very small.
Most of our towers have a ladder on them. And
Sure. Well, yeah, this talks about coming down the tank itself, or I guess, and then the ladder, this box is mounted on the outside of the ladder, so which is not a big deal, so, okay. And obviously Greg and Tim are gonna have some input, to say the least, so,
Yeah, we can call it that.
okay.
It's not something that's new, it's done,
Sure.
there's cities all over the county, and emails all over. Some people don't want a lot of them up there either.
All right.
Steve, is that new to us? Do we have anything else scanned onto our towers?
Not that I'm aware of, you know, unless the guys have put something up there for their own purposes.
Just remember, whatever you allow him to do, Kelly Hendricks is going to be up there.
Put a flag up on top.
Well, he's always ham radio now.
That is a concern, but if there's something here that benefits specifically the operations of the city and the administration of the city, then you can put a wrap around that and control it.
Emergency service stuff,
Exactly.
to say the least, is something to be looked at.
Exactly.
And if there is two-way later, our services do not interfere with two-way or telemetry or not any of that product. We only interfere with ourselves, so if another wireless in it, and they have the same frequency up there within 3 feet of it, that creates problems.
My only concern is that you mentioned Jeff Turner, I'm not sure we need to work on
That's
that.
right. Well, hopefully when I was asking, they have to work with it.
His wife's here, I did that.
Nor do I have to work with it, hopefully either, but
I did
I don't want to
that.
have to always be good. Yeah, you think great so well.
Yeah, he does.
That doesn't, on our towers, any more lightning strikes than any other than normal with that.
This is just small wireless now. It's amazing how little, uses 24 volt low voltage, average consumption's 70 cents to $1.20 a month. Utility bill, it's amazing how it works. It's very simple product. But it can do a lot. It's doing a lot for people in rural areas already because we're satisfying some customers. In rural areas right now that they could never do stuff if they can't support them.
Council, any further questions? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We'll be getting back with you through Mr. Bradley. Thank you very much. And I love the name of your company.
Thanks.
Wow. I just got a text from the gentleman that just arrived to remind me that not only is it food clerk week, it's also, not this week, but the 15th through I wrote it down, just lost it, through the 21st, National Police Week. Is that correct? So remind everybody of that, so when you get pulled over to have your ticket, be sure and thank the officer for your ticket. That'll go a long way. We'll move right into the committee reports. Mr. Kenny Sunday from the Board of Trustees. I'm surprised you were able to get away.
Well, I'm going to be quick.
Okay.
First, I'd like to thank Police Chief Dawson for letting us have our Arkansas Gives at the jail. We ended up raising $4,000 that day, and we appreciate everybody who came and helped out. We'd like to thank United Methodist, came out there, we tore down our playground. Mike Davison came out and smoothed it out, and they built a pirate ship. And tell you how big of a hit it was. Last Monday or Tuesday, I'm umpiring a 7- and 8-year-old game, and we're waiting for a kid to bat. And him and this other kid went to the bathroom, and we're waiting and waiting, and we look up there, and the ball players are on the pirate ship instead of at the game. So we've had a few incidents like that, which is great to see. We are averaging anywhere between 15 and 2,000 people out at the club every night now. They are everywhere. We're very excited about it. One of the things that was asked to me, Mayor called me after the last city council meeting, and I guess there were some questions later on about where the money's going and everything. To give you an example, in the month of April, just for our baseball and softball program, we spent $4,240 on umpires, $2,800 on supplies, sod cutters. We spent $3,000 on workers out there, field workers, especially at the beginning, getting them ready, concession gate workers. We spent $750 on our septic system to get that up and running, make sure it's because of the flow that's taking in right now because of the season. We also had an incident where our lights on field 8, the wires burnt underground, so they had to dig it all up, pull wire and everything. That's going to cost us $1,200 this month. But not counting even the fixing the lights, it was $10,455, and that's not counting utilities, that's not counting insurance, but that's an idea. One of the questions I have for you is, what do you want us every month to sit here and break it down where the city's money's going, or do you want to end the year report? We'll be glad, we appreciate everything y'all do for us, and whatever y'all want, we want to make sure we deliver it. So,
I'm okay with just leaving it here. We've been doing this a while, and I'm gonna be okay with that. The rest of the council is
okay.
Annual report.
Yeah. Okay. We get one ready for United Way, the National Boys and Girls.
As far as I'm concerned, too, can you just, that's probably a detailed thing. I'm okay with just putting it in some kind of paper form for us to review, and get Charlotte put it in with our agenda packet, and you can just look at it before. That way you don't have to spend a lot of time up here
Yes.
going through it. Y'all, is that okay with the rest of the council? Yes. We ask you questions about it, obviously.
Right, and I mean, any month you can ask me. We have we get our financial reports done every month. We go over the executive board meeting, we go over the financials and board meeting and everything. So any questions y'all have, we can have it for you within the hour if I don't have it with me. So, anything else? Thank y'all.
Thank you, Kenny. Appreciate you. Ms. Riley needs you for just a second, Kenny, before you head back to the T-ball. Thank you. Appreciate everything you do out there. Lisa Moore.
Good afternoon. I'm here on behalf of the Sebastian County Senior Center. We, I've not been here lately, but we'll start being here. We had 659 meals served for the town of Greenwood and 954 meals on the home delivery meals. We served 2,758 of the total amount in April, and 58% of the meals are for the city of Greenwood residents. Y'all do have a copy of this in your packet. So, and there's one thing I would like to get done, if we could, the creek by the senior center. A lot of the debris comes down here and builds up. We have a bunch of snake problem down here going on right now. We would like to get it cleaned out, please. I called twice to get it done, it hasn't been done yet. So I was wondering if there's any way we could get it done.
We can only get in there certain times of the
Well, it's
year.
just on the side, it's not in the creek. It's just the debris that's pushing up on the rocks.
Yeah, I went and looked at that, and Chad and I don't know if Chad and I got to go or not. Chad, you got something on that?
No.
Oh, I thought you were.
No, I'm just, yeah, I'm
Okay.
here.
Okay, Chad and I'll go back and look tomorrow. I didn't think I took you, the day you called, I went down and looked, and we'll
We
go back.
put mothballs out, there's still this coming up on the back.
You got rid of the moss, but the snakes are still there.
Yeah. Well, you know, our they have to go over there to smoke, that's the only place they can smoke is there. And
I can
so
fix that, tell them no smoking.
that's what I would rather do too, but, you know, some of the elderly people
We'll come and
would
look.
rather have a cigarette than a meal, so.
Yeah. Chad, if you'll remind me tomorrow, we'll go back.
Is there any questions?
Appreciate you being here.
And Deanna was coming tonight, she's covering closing up, so she didn't get to come. So, thank y'all.
Thank you, Lisa, thank you for taking care of our senior adults. Parks Commission, Richard, do you want to speak on that?
Update from last month, we're working now with our Boy Scout, the Eagle Scout project on the Winford Park Moose project out there, and we've got a sign out here in the foyer. If you'd like to look at it, that would be one of the informational signs that's already been ordered. As soon as he gets his package completed and approved by the Scout Council, then we'll be ready to start working on that. We're spending about $10,000 on repairs in the equipment up at Bell Park, playground equipment. I've already replaced 2 of the infant swings. We've got the big 8-foot stainless steel slide coming in to be delivered on the 11th of this month. And we've got a volunteer that's going to take care of putting that in, and the expression swing. And that's the one that has the infant and the parent are in the swing at the same time. We decided to put that in. Had a lot of requests for that from moms and babies. Mike Linson is a retired Army guy. He's volunteered to take that project on. We'll just go and do the demolition for him, provide him everything he needs to take care of that.
Mike Senior. Mike Senior.
I don't know.
Yes.
Is it?
Junior's not gonna help the city at all.
I thought maybe there was a term of events I wasn't aware of.
I wouldn't either, by the way.
Main trail extension, we've made some progress out here on Bell Road. Anywhere we run parallel to a road that's going to look a lot like a sidewalk out there, but in fact it is trail extension. It's all being funded by the Arkansas Community Foundation. We've done the area in front of the fire station #1, both sides of the main driveway there. Next week, we've already removed all the trees out there near the recycle center. Fence has been moved back. We're getting ready to fill that in a little bit. Get that formed up probably next week after next, we'll have that forward. We'll go all the way to the second gate going into the recycle center. We'll stop right there. We're already planning on reinforcing the concrete for the driveways and everything so the large trucks can come in. We'll hesitate right there, and then we've got a bridge being designed right now by Wreck Shelter. We're ready for some pricing on that. As soon as that's done, we'll push bulkheads in the creek, get our easements and go across the creek. We've already made contact with Armega, and they're interested in talking to us about continuing the trail on their property. We haven't decided if front or back. We'd like to get off the road and get on back in the tree line and get close to the creek. That's all what we do. Now, there again, that's all funded by the Arkansas Community Foundation. Ed Wilkinson Pavilion continues to be rented almost continually. We have 4 weekends that are open in 2016, and that's all. We've got to book for every weekend, and we've already had all of May and June of 2017 books on. So we're good there. The scissor lift that you guys approved for me to purchase last month is on site. We've already used it to make some repairs. We've got a housekeeping up in the rafters of the building that they're cleaning lenses and things like that. Great Invest Committee has been meeting every month. Everything's on schedule. We've got all the contracts signed. Run out for the clocks already. Yes, right. And that so everybody's on contract ready to go for 4th of July. We have 30 vendors already that have signed up, to include food, craft vendors. We expect that to be somewhere, it's like last year, probably around 90. That's all said and done. Art Festival, we're working with the Chamber of Commerce on the Art Fest on the trail. That will be this Saturday. It's going to start right over here by the Coal Miners Memorial and continue down the trail all the way to the Senior Center, that Betty Wilkinson Senior Center. I'll have 50 tents set up all along the trail, both sides, with some music and food vendors out there, so folks can enjoy the day. And then we encourage them to go up and participate with the quilt festival, or the quilt show, area of quilts, which we're also participating and helping out by providing the enrollments building for that 3 days. Bell Park Foundation met to discuss their master plan for Bell Park. And they're coming up with some ideas that they'll probably be discussing with the rest of the Parks Commission here shortly. And then I'm sure they'll want to bring the council into ideas what they plan there. And that one of those things actually includes a splash pad, trying to get location things down there. City Lake parking ramp, boat dock trail project. Michael John's been working on that hard, getting the final drawings up for that. Looking good. We've already approved. We're probably about 99% ready to go on that. And we'll submit that down to the highway department, and we'll be ready to proceed on. And hopefully they'll give us a rush to proceed then. We can start working on that. How long we've got one? Yeah.
Did you say, or maybe I misunderstood you, but as far as repairing, stuff out there at Bell Park, the swing sets and stuff, that's only $10,000 a month?
No, 10,000. We just
10,000?
Yeah, we just had some money that the commission authorized, and you guys approved the budget last to replace a slide out there. 6-foot slide's got a big break in it. It's a plastic slide. We're taking that out for the stainless steel. A little bit larger, a little fancier, something that will last. And then some of the little swings for the kids are probably 20 years old maybe. And they're kind of rough. And then have little chains on them and things like that.
Just the slide itself is pretty.
The slides itself is $7,200. It's not stuff like in your backyard.
Yeah.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate you. As much as I hate to say it, you're doing a good job. It's an inside joke. Mr. Grimes.
Mayor, Councilman, Mr. Hamby, through the years, we've been very, very fortunate to have good legislators and good representation of the city of Greenwood. Tonight, I have Charlotte Douglas with me, and both Senator Files and Charlotte Douglas, Representative Douglas, have done a great job. They've been easy to work with. They've also helped us quite a bit in projects that we needed and helped with dollars, and they're helping the legislature. So, again, Representative Douglas, I'm going to let her talk to you a little bit about what is going on as far as the special session, fiscal session, and probably an upcoming session that's probably going to be in the next month or so, a couple months maybe.
We think it will.
You'd like to have a little rest first?
I'm sure the governor's going to do that. Yes, I appreciate Jerry bringing me here and letting me give you an update. And we have been extremely busy. But the special session that we just finished began April 6th and addressed the frameworks for Arkansas Works, which was the healthcare plan that was a continuation of the private option. Arkansas Works replaces, of course, the private option renames it, but it actually adds some elements to it. It uses federal Medicaid funds to provide private insurance plans for the state's lowest income residents. Arkansas Works makes changes to the program, such as directing the unemployment to work training programs. We tried to put a work provision in that, but it's just not federally able to do that right now. We've asked for a waiver, and that's not saying that we won't get that in the future. But of course, our aim would always to bring these people out of poverty and into the workforce to become contributors and get that, those taxes back to us. But we are making provisions for them to have to check in with unemployment and to check in with adult ed. So some work requirements. And then it also requires some wellness exams, which is fantastic. We can be preventative instead of, you know, on the back end. And then payments of premiums for individuals making above 100% of federal poverty level. You know, we go up to 138% of poverty with this program. This year, we will be passing another budget. We have a 2-year budget, but in the even years, we have a fiscal session to tweak it, add to it, look at the economic forecast and see if we can add some things to the budget or if we have to pare it down. And the budget, I am on budget, and we are in the middle of that right now. We hope to line that up at the end of this week. RSA, Revenue Stabilization Act, was put on our tables, as they say, this weekend, and that has to lay there for so many days, and then we'll be able to gavel out if that is passed. A couple of things that were added to this that statewide, everybody's been concerned about libraries, and we put some funding back in there for libraries, and also for senior ends, we put some money back in there to give them as well. And then we'll probably have sign and die, which is when all the bills have to be reviewed to make sure there's no mistakes or redundancy in the code, and then we will gavel out permanently, probably next Monday, maybe. And then the governor, of course, has been hinting that we will have our next special session in May sometime. Probably be a 3-day session, and he's looking at highway funding. Very important. We know that you cannot grow economically unless you have your roads in place. That would also mean hopefully some funding for Highway 49 to continue both ways. And we know that that has brought such economic growth to the area, just having that 2-mile strip, or how many ever miles, about that, somewhere in there, not 2 miles.
Depends on how fast you grow.
Yeah. Maybe it's a little bit more than that. But we're trying to get it across the river, and that's the big stumbling block, is to get that bridge. It's going to be, you know, it's a $1 billion bridge. So, but just a couple of things just to let you know. I know you don't see me at this council meeting, but what am I doing when you don't see me? And I've worked with the Parks and Rec and on several projects. Right now, we're working on a project that could be a bronze statue to go under the bell tower, and it's something that would be, you know, a landmark to add to, you know, that complex. We'll see, you know, how the town wants that to proceed. I've also been able to work, of course, with safety issues, and I'm, you know, so pleased to be able to work with a police chief that is so cognizant of safety, and especially on 71. And it looks like we're going to have this stoplight study that we've requested to. I think that could be a great addition on 71 for business as well as for safety. And the Boys and Girls Club, I'm trying to work with them on getting some more money through meals that they're eligible for, so that they can cut back on what they're having to spend, and they can get this free stuff that's out there. And I tried to connect him with some different places, and I think he's got some extra funding for this fall. So I'm going to continue to work on that. I'm in a bird's eye seat to help him with that, because I'm on the Hunger Commission. It's a national commission that assesses all the states' hunger issues. And so I go around the country and to these different venues, and we share best practices about how we can address hunger insecurity back in our states. So there are some things that relationships that I've developed with that I can help the Boys and Girls Club and possibly even the senior citizen with. What I think that I have helped the most with possibly is working with your education system here in town. And those are some things that you might not see. But in my first term, as I went around on the education committee and said, what can I do for you? Superintendent said, please deregulate. And I think everybody in the state said, please deregulate, whether you're a small business or fireman or whatever. But I took that to heart and got some of my superintendents together and I said, put this together. I don't know how it should work, but how can we make things easier for you? We came up with a fabulous bill. I call it the efficiency bill. And it has virtually eliminated a department at the Department of Ed. Because what we said in that bill is the education community or our school districts don't have to report something but once. And they were reporting 2 or 3 times and the systems weren't talking to each other. So now, by law, ADE, CTE cannot ask them for a piece of information more than once. They have to go retrieve it from the computer. And that has and will continue to make great strides for them. I'm presently working with Renee Foster to try to get the Medicaid. Am I over my 5 minutes?
You'll see.
You can take Chief Brian.
When he said 5, I was like, you didn't really mean 5 minutes. But I kept thinking, well, I really want to hear this, maybe what I'm really, are they getting any bang for their buck here? So I'm going to let you know. But working with her, because what we found out is that the school systems do not get reimbursed the same for their behavioral science services, their counselors, as they would if they were in private practice. It's a lobby thing. But we are working and think we're going to get this put in to code that they get the same reimbursement. It's a difference in $9 that the school gets and $35 that a private practice gets per hour. If we had that extra money in the school system, they could hire more counselors. They could, do a lot for those kids that need so much right now that are coming to school with such baggage. So that, and then several other bills for education. But that's what we're working on right now. All the superintendents in the area have come together with me, and we're doing an omnibus bill on education. We're going back and cleaning up all the language that is unnecessary, that makes them do things that are outdated. So that's going to be a major undertaking in the next session. I'm assistant pro tem to the speaker, which gives me some responsibilities. And going into my 3rd term, I will be the highest ranking female in the House, which brings with it some prestige, a better parking place or something. I don't know. But that's a good thing to be in that spot. I am chair of the K-12 Vocational Committee. The governor appointed me to his oversight committee on child welfare, and we have met with hundreds of people on 10 or 15 different subcommittees of that oversight, trying to get foster care and adoption and caseworkers and just to drive efficiencies into their system and figure out what's wrong. Sebastian County is the most egregious county in the state. And I am reminding them that they would just put the money in Sebastian County. We have 600 or 800 kids in foster care here in Sebastian County, and we don't have enough beds for them. We have about 100, 150 beds. So they're all over the state, overcrowding everybody else's system. So if they would just put a lot of money in Sebastian County, they could get all of our kids back home possibly, and everybody else could take a breath. So being an advocate for our county on that and for kids, that has been an eye-opening place to be. I'm on the Energy Committee, on Budget, I serve on 911, and state agencies and education. And then I've been appointed to go to Washington DC to serve on human trafficking. And we've had several girls kidnapped lately in Little Rock area, and they feel like they've been put into the human trafficking system, young teenage girls, and we hope to get the truck drivers involved and the truckers against trafficking, because they're on the roads, they see a lot of this. So I've got lots of projects going, that's a few of them, and I would just like to tell you that when I go around the state, and I'm able to do so, I tell them what a remarkable community that you guys have here. Your community support is so strong, your schools are so strong, and it has given me an opportunity to be your advocate in the state and to invite people here. When economic development comes to town, they're just blown away that they did not know, what a wonderful place this was. So thank you for allowing me to serve you, and invite me back anytime. But know that I am working, even if I'm not showing up here at your meeting. So thank you, and I'll be glad to take questions.
I don't necessarily have, I'm sorry, you need to go ahead.
I was just saying, thank you for being a good friend to Greenwood. Appreciate that.
It's been easy to do.
I don't have a question, I just have a couple of statements. One is, Tammy and I attended the groundbreaking for the home, the new children's home in Chaffee Crossing the other day, and those statistics were given to us that were just mind-boggling. You mentioned that 900 kids in the state are in those 8 counties, I think, that they represent, that folks that put that home in was Free Will Baptist deal. 900 kids, 700 are in Sebastian County. I mean, what is going on? So thank you for that. And they talked about having to push them all over the state. And on behalf of my wife, I have to say, I know education is near and dear to your heart. She thanks you for being that voice for education. She teaches kindergarten, as you know, so it's nice to know that there's somebody up there talking about education. I appreciate what you do. And between you and Senator Files and sometimes Gary, we have a great representation of Little Rock. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you.
Real quick, I want to tell you that I've worked with a lot of legislators through the years, and both Senator Files and Charlotte have been great. No one, and it's obvious that no one's any more passionate about what she does than Representative Douglas. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Michael John, top of that.
I don't believe I'll be able to do that today, but Mayor, Council, Ms. Derry, Mr. Hamby, just want to give you a quick update on the Dove State Police Station, but we're also going to talk about the fire department as well. It's a police station project. Obviously, they've been in the building for a while. We turned all of our documentation into U.S. Green Building Council for lead certification on that project. We got an initial review back and answered a few questions. We've sent those back, and we're waiting for our final reply. We're hoping, they're pretty slow right now, but we're hoping by the next council meeting that we have what level of certification we've been awarded on that project. And if we get it prior to that, we'll be sure to notify the mayor and the city council earlier. On the police, or on the fire station, project's going along as planned. I think Channel 5 or KSFM did a news story this morning. Hopefully a lot of you guys saw that, did a really good job. Project is ahead of schedule according to the contractor. They started on the brickwork. They've got a blue air barrier that's been painted on. They're just about to finish up all the steel framing. They're going to start tying in the low roof to the rest of the building this week. And then as soon as they get that in, they'll start installing the roof and the parapets and the soffit metal that matches the front of the building. They're also going to start probably the first of next week with the grading, and they'll start the concrete paving in the back. They'll probably start at one end, kind of work their way out as they're finishing the station. So they'll have that crew going on while they're finishing up work on the building. Mentioned before, the contractor currently right now said he's 4 to 6 weeks ahead of schedule. Biggest issue you guys noticed the last few days is weather. So it's like if they can get the roof on, I think that's going to help expedite any other additional weather delays. Of course, they got a lot of concrete and stuff to pour, so there'll be a weather committee on that. It's just that time of year. But I think it's good news that he said he's ahead. but, you know, I think some of that will get absorbed as we go along here to the next month or so. Don't really have anything else. There's really only one pending item as far as the change order is concerned. When we did a brick sample for the building, we noticed that the building had colored mortar in it instead of standard gray mortar. So we already had them go ahead and add the colored mortar in. It's additional $575, but I thought go ahead and do it. We would figure out later because we didn't want to wait on the masonry guys, and they started the masonry work if you look out there. So that's the only thing that's came up. Contractor said he's not anticipating any problems right now. Everything's moving on fine to get the roof on. And, project seems to be going well, and I'm pretty happy with Southern Building Services on the project.
Will we eventually get a change order on that masonry color?
We will. Since it was just one item, I figured I would wait until further down the road in case something else came up and we didn't have to do paperwork for just one item. But we can go ahead and do it. They've already started, so we don't have to worry about the condition on that right now. I just wanted to let everybody, make everybody aware of it.
Michael, did anyone contact you, and I think they did, regarding the dumpster?
Yes, and that's been addressed by the contractor, and I'm not sure what was going on that day. There was a subcontractor here working, and they were tearing some forms off, and I think they took their materials over there to their dumpster instead. But
I didn't see it. I just was kind of came through my office, and I figured somebody.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's been addressed, and if there are any other issues, you know, feel free, Stewart or Parks Department, or anybody contact us, and we'll address the contractor via.
Do you want me to change number 5 to read something different, or do you keep it with police station construction project?
You can just say construction project update.
I think it's
because we'll have
actually
start delaying for too long, so.
Progress,
Yeah.
yeah. Because you always seem to have something going and have to throw in trail things
right.
here and there sometimes too. I'll just knock that police station part out and just.
All right, you just heard those.
No, it's not.
Shouldn't be.
Pretty much.
Any questions from Mr. Lejeune?
Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Water Wastewater Commission, Mr. Radrick.
Mayor, Councilman Terry, Mr. Hamby, I think we covered most of the things I had. There was one other item that I wanted to add to you guys for your attention, which is the sewer line that's going to be parallel Tinsburg, just north of Walmart. The purpose of that sewer line is to try to gain sewer for those commercial properties along there where we put the water line in. Now those properties will have sewer. That's going out for bid in the next couple of weeks. We're anticipating that to be about $75,000 or $80,000. We already started working with Mr. Hamby on trying to draft an ordinance that will allow the city to recover fees as different businesses try to tap into those sewers, as well as we're going to come back and do a similar ordinance for the water line that was put in so we can recover some cost, maybe not 100%, but we're going to try to recover some costs on the line as we did with Tractor Supply, to try to recoup some of the costs on that, so working with him on that. Greg is working on scoping some of the sewers around town, trying to cover in some of those areas where we have clay pots, and we'll be replacing clay lines, and we'll be replacing some of those, but we'll do it sections at a time where we know we have problems. He's going to be working with the crew over the next couple of months on that. Any questions for me? Mr. Powell, I'm sorry.
You talked, I don't know anybody else there going to talk to the committee head, the department head guys. You talked about in the commission meeting one day, y'all talked about the radio reads and going to the 100-gallon read. I didn't know if you had an update or.
No, I can go ahead and talk about it real quick. We've engaged with our software company to try to produce some test scenarios on the 100-gallon reads. Because currently we build on 1,000-gallon read, and so we'd like to get to 100. Almost all the cities in the area are on a 100-gallon read. I think Fort Smith's on a cubic foot, which I'm not sure how anyone understands that. So we're doing some test scenarios. We looked at March, and we'll take a look at April March was a little high because we recouped some water that we didn't have, converted from the 1,000 to 100. We'll look at April, and it should kind of levelize out, and we'll look again hopefully in May, and then come back and make a recommendation to the council as how we proceed forward on that. The biggest issue is going to be communicating to the public. There's not really a rate increase. We haven't changed the ordinance, we haven't changed the rates, we're just changing how we read your meter. And so there's a little bit of money left on the table, but more importantly, we've got situations where you have to wait. Sometimes you're a month in arrears to try to catch up on your 1,000 gallons. And then if you have someone that leaves, vacates premises, we leave money on the table. So we'll keep you posted as we move. There will be a discussion after we understand how the impact of that 100-gallon read goes. There will be a discussion about cleaning up the rate table. The water rate table is ridiculous. I think Mr. Terry got an example of that when he was at the meeting. That it's a ridiculous rate table. I understand. I'm assuming it had some purpose when it was put in place, but it's very difficult, very cumbersome, and we're going to try to clean that up. But I think the first thing would be get the 100-gallon reading and make sure we can kind of put the public at ease, and then come back with the rate table change. Any questions? You needed me to stick around for you?
Just for that, Mr. Thomas.
Okay.
Wow.
I just want to make sure I wasn't expecting something else. Any questions?
Well, again, I just want to say, again, I just appreciate the Water Wastewater Commission for all their hard work and diligence in getting this, bond issue to fruition, and we can get that water tower built. So I just appreciate all y'all's work on that.
Great package.
I'm sure it is.
Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Reddick.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Okay, that wraps up the committee reports. Citizen forum, I did not get anybody, or did not receive the form with any signatures. Okay, as always, I would like to say that if you intended to sign up and you didn't, we would recognize you and give you 30 seconds to give us your, give you 5 minutes or so, but it doesn't look like anybody's here to do that, so we'll move on. Agenda additions. Yes, sir. Mr. McKinney.
This is a request council add to the agenda. We have a resolution for Parks Department amending our 2016 budget to increase to employee salaries for the year.
Would be number 9.
Well,
Or did you fill in?
I didn't know where that wow person.
Okay.
That,
That's
I think
done.
that was number 9 because unless it was citizen forum.
Well,
I mean,
I would say that loudly number 10.
we'll do it as a recognition. Whatever makes sense for you and your
What is
record.
this?
Citizen forum,
Just
just got,
Okay.
I like that.
Okay.
yeah. So it's number 9.
Number 9. Yes, sir. Chief?
We spoke about the firearms ordinance at the meeting today. I think that, I don't know if that was mistakenly left off, but at the study session, the two that showed up, we talked about discussing it last meeting. And I don't think it's going away with the media wanting to know what we're doing, so.
Okay.
I want to add resolution for safe deposit box for storage disaster recovery.
Anyone else? Okay.
Mayor, I'd like to,
Yes, sir.
you probably have it on your agenda, but, there was a very special person who had a birthday today, as I recall.
Yes. Would you you like going?
Well, no, you'd be better for that.
My father, Fred Kinslow, who's not here tonight, who typically is here to partake of these, but he was inundated with visitors when I left a while ago. Today's his 85th birthday. So if you see him around town, you might wish him a happy birthday. He will take it if you forget it until next month. He'll enjoy it then as much as he would today. He's vibrant. I can't keep up with him. He's hard to stay up with, but one of a kind, to say the least. I will say that he was the recent recipient of the Gloria White Angel Volunteer Award in Fort Smith, and Dustin came up with a great story on that front page, and he was excited. I actually took him to that luncheon under false pretenses. That's probably what you shouldn't do to lie your 85-year-old father, but I did to get him up there because he would have won anyway, but I wanted it to be a surprise. And they had reserved 2 tables for us, so we kind of questioned that immediately. There's only 2 of us, but that went away soon because he started visiting, as you can imagine. And then my siblings started showing up, and their kids, and Tammy, of course, was there, and Dustin came. So not until they had given a Rookie of the Year award, and then they gave away the Volunteer of the Year award, and then the lady that was in charge said that we now will present the most prestigious, that's important to remember, the most prestigious award of all, and it was the Gloria White Angel Award, and started reading a Bible with my dad. And not until she got to the part of him being married to my mom for 58 years did he recognize it was about him. And we were taping him the whole time, his face changed, and he got up and went to the microphone as we all expected him to do. He was very gracious and thanking him for it. But I told you about the prestigious part because when we got in the truck to come home, you could tell it was a very nice plaque. Lots of people there, thousands, no, probably 150 people or so. And he was looking at the plaque and he said, nowhere on here does it say prestigious. So he was listening. But he was very grateful for that, and I would encourage you to tell him happy birthday if you would. He'll appreciate that. Thank you for reminding me of that. And I completely forgot today to have him sing happy birthday at Illinois. I will regret that the rest of my life, I'm sure. Okay, so we will go into we'll go into the old business. The first one is under planning, and we have actually tabled this, but I think the ordinance is in your packet. Sonny is not here to address it. We actually have several department heads missing tonight, but Sonny's one of them. And this is about the closing of East Geary Street.
I'm familiar with it, having reviewed the ordinance, and it is ready for the third and final reading. I'm satisfied. We have the easements prepared and ready to be signed, and I'm ready to move forward with the third and final reading.
I know Sonny is.
We put it in third and final reading.
Second.
By title only. All day. We have a first and a second.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Vice Terry?
Yes.
Thank you.
A corrective ordinance for the purpose of closing a section of East Geary Street and Elementary Loop and for providing a utility easement on East Geary in the city of Greenwood, Arkansas.
Anything further on that? No. Good. Okay. Thank you.
The only question I might have before we move on our map we have here, Exhibit A is showing that permanent water line easement, and I guess we've gotten with the proper department folks, or we just throw a line in there and hope that's where it's at.
No, I think that information came from those.
Okay.
Yes, came from service.
Yeah. And, yes, thanks for what you're saying. Okay. Anything else on that? Nope. Okay. Number 2 is Mr. Hamby.
This is the ordinance we've been talking about, unsightly hazards for several months. I cleaned up the typographic layers and the heading on this, and it's ready for second reading. It's not changing anything other than some confusing language that was in the original ordinance. Otherwise, it's the exact same ordinance. So I would recommend the motion to put it on for second reading by title only.
So the one that was in our packet, we need to disregard.
Right, I had you correct.
And you just answered, but I want to just for safety's sake and Mr. Bell's sake, there was nothing, it's not changed, it's just correct English.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Make a motion to put it on for reading, second reading by title only.
Second.
Have a motion and a second?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Mr. McDaniel?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Lance Terry?
Yes.
Unanimous. The ordinance repealing ordinance number 03-40, authorizing the abatement of health, fire, flooding, and unsightly hazards on real property declaring an emergency in total.
Thank you. Number 3, maybe a little misleading, the pay scale adoption resolution. No, I guess it's not. There's a hope, I think we got through all of this last month, and we did not have a resolution. I failed to get that to you, or I failed to pass it on to somebody. So we have the resolution, although I'm not seeing it. Here we go. I got it. Thank you. Well, I missed all that. Okay. Huh? Yeah, so it's attached to the, okay. I'll shuffle the papers, I'm sorry. I got it, I see it. Okay.
It's not that.
This is ours. I know what I'm looking at. I don't even, you folks have it. Thank you very much. Resolution number 116-21. This is, I believe, what we removed for council, or after council's discussion was the scale, if you will, in between, was it something else? Charlie, do you remember what was?
We removed the elected officials.
An elected official. We were on a separate ordinance. Yes, okay.
Resolution.
Our ordinance.
All these boxes here on our salary ranges are pretty much what we've been agreeing on the whole time we've been doing it.
That's correct, yes.
The study session.
Yep.
The only negative I can think of is if you hire a position that's different than what's on here, this is going to have to be revised. But I don't know any way not to do that.
Yeah, I think we'll, yeah, I agree.
Part of the deal.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, I guess.
I make a motion we adopt this resolution.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. McDaniel?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
Yes.
Lance Terry?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you, gentlemen. If I can find my sheet again. All right. Okay, item number 4 is Mr. Powell.
Okay, 4 is in city clerk ordinance.
Yes, city clerk first, yes.
Mike has a report back, and I think he had to municipally look at it, because we were concerned on that section 4, which would reset the annual salary, the minimum, and also the minimum and the maximum salary. And he said that they're okay with it?
Yes, I visited with them, I initially broached the subject with them, they voiced the exact same concerns that I did, but after 30 minutes of talking through it and what the potential was, we both came to the conclusion that those issues existed, whether or not, you said it, every 4 years during the election cycle, whether you have a minimum or maximum. So we both agree that there is no legal issue with the ordinance, and we're satisfied with it.
Okay, so we're still at section 2, that's state law. We're setting the city clerk's salary at $47,203.32. State law requires that we do that in ordinance. Section 3 is basically, that was my idea, declaring a full-time position. I'm always worried about somebody running for the position, not really realizing what all the clerk does. The clerk does a lot. The clerk does more and more every year. The clerk's job is a whole lot more intense than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, mainly because we passed all these commissions, and that's to attend all these meetings, and the clerk does a lot of work. And then also section 4, that was the part where we may have a 25-year veteran in the clerk's position, and we may not want to pay the the newest one that runs, and we may forget to reset that to the minimum salary, so that would automatically reset it at the minimum. Whether we forgot, whether we went in there right before filing and set that at the minimum, which the minimum would be $39,698. We know that that's automatic based upon this ordinance. This ordinance, like the other ordinance, Daniel brought up, that, we may hire someone outside the position. We're going to have to revisit it from time to time when we, raise the salary. So, what do y'all like? What do you don't like? What do you want me to change? This is the second reading. The next time will be the third reading. So, what do y'all want me to do?
I like it. I make a motion to put it on for second reading by title only.
Second.
I have one comment.
Yes.
On section 5, and this is very minor, salary will be paid bi-weekly on schedule with other city employees. Just to me, if you could say that in a more generic way, salary will be paid on schedule with other city employees, and instead of saying bi-weekly, because if that changes for some reason over time, then it's just gets
Strike word bi-weekly.
I'm certainly happy to strike them bi-weekly.
Also, I added, Rod and I talked, and I added something that I was concerned about to section 3. And it is in the second sentence. And time off to compensate for after hours meeting attendances is what I added there. Because my concern was that I do attend a lot of evening meetings. And when I do that, I tend to take off a little bit during the week to compensate for that. So,
Our concern was in the future, council trying to punish her because she went to a 3-day meeting that took, 3 days away from her time and family, where she can compensate for that when she comes back in. Of course, we've never done that to the city clerk, but council in the future could. I thought that was good to add that.
That's already in there.
It's in there.
So I'll change my motion to accommodate the striking of bi-weekly.
Second.
I have a real quick question. I think I know the answer. I think I just want to say the current salary set for elected treasurer is what it is now. That does not restrict you guys from coming back and.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
So is it clear? I mean, I guess it's clear to everyone that the council sets the salary, right? Okay, it's section 1 that is set by the council. So section 4 is fine. That's a little bit weird that it's going to be reset to the minimum or amount up to the maximum. They don't only say when you can do that.
Well, it says we can do what we want to do.
I mean,
Section
you do what-
5.
I think it's fine. It says you can do what you need to do.
Section 5 allows for the merit or cost of living increases at the discretion of the city council. And the new pay rate will be set by ordinance, so it gives us control of the risk.
I think my fear has always been that a 19-year-old runs for the position and wins, and then leaves town. But the opposite, like you say, could be true. We may get retired CPA from Whirlpool that wanted to run for the position, and we're going to say, we're not going to pay them. And, they elected, and we're going to compensate you for based upon your level of education and training and skill. So we could pay what we want. But as a minimum, we're going to pay $39,698. Whether you're 19 or a retired CPA from Whirlpool. 18 is the same one.
So I think that's great, because that way they won't automatically make that assumption that, oh, I'm going to get the present salary. That's a guarantee.
That's not, if we pass this, that's not a guarantee.
Right.
The guarantee is the minimum.
We have a first and a second.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Unanimous. An ordinance establishing the salary and regulating expected work hours and benefits for the early letter to the city clerk treasurer, the city of Greenwood, Arkansas, for other purposes.
Thank you. Mr. Powell.
Okay, we're to the mayor's, sir, same thing, with the exception of state law does not require us to set the salary in ordinance, unlike the city clerk. Again, my intention was to declare it a full-time position and, say what our expectations were. Everything else is similar to the city clerk's ordinance.
I'm actually, motion that we, pass this ordinance with the exception of, again, on section 5, as Daniel had pointed out, striking bi-weekly.
Is there anything else y'all like, changed, want to add?
And you said state law does not require that we set the mayor's salary.
Not, we just put it in our budget every year, right? Second that motion.
You're the best person. Describe my weekly, that's it. Section 5.
Thank you so far. Any other comments, gentlemen?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. McDaniel?
Yes.
Tim Terry?
We got 4 yeses on this?
Yes.
No.
Vice Terry?
No.
Passes by majority.
Thank you. Okay, then we will move into new business for our wastewater commission. Did we already do that? We already did that. Very good. Number 7. Oh, it does say bronze eagle. I was going to make sure you weren't thinking I was going to have bronze statue of the mayor. That's what I thought.
Which one?
Which mayor?
With our prestige.
Let me refer to the company that was here earlier. Wow. Oh, you're still here. This is, I think I brought this just to your attention last month, I think. Did I? Or not? What I was working on, and I kind of thought you weren't listening. Okay. I'm going to hand this one down. And I'll hand this way. And whatever you want to do with these. This is a project that I've been thinking about for quite some time. One is to get something, back when I was the parks guy too, to get something underneath the clock tower when Mr. Lejeune originally did the sketching, if you will, of redoing the clock tower, that sort of thing. We were thinking at that time of possibly a statue of some sort and/or a water feature to incorporate underneath the tower. Years and years ago, if you remember, you're as old as I am, there was a fountain under the tower at one time, which of course, probably due to some of the exploits of the Terrys, there was soap suds put in there. No, I'm just kidding, it wasn't Terry. That happens when you have a water feature. But anyway, that's kind of another issue altogether. An eagle is something that came to my mind, obviously, for obvious reasons. One is our nation's symbol of freedom. I originally was thinking about a single eagle after visiting with the folks that are on that card who happen to be citizens of Greenwood now. One is Jim and Judy Dotson, thank you. Judy is actually original resident from Greenwood, and then she moved off and married Jim, and he's from Ardmore, Oklahoma. He's a veteran. This whole situation kind of has ties. I just kind of want to brief you on it as quick as I can because I know we have other things to do. We visited, they now live in Greenwood. They live out at Jack Miller Lake. We went out to their home and visited with them, and this is kind of because of Cinda Bell, who I had approached the Parks Commission to get their thumbs up or their thoughts on a statue being erected underneath the clock tower, and they were they were good with it, I guess. They didn't disapprove, and they told me to move forward as much as I could without any money. So that's what I'm doing. this particular, the statue you just looked at, if you noticed, is a, I call it the daddy eagle, mommy eagle, and 3 babies. You do not see that, I'm sorry. There you go. After visiting with the folks out of Jack Nolan, this is one of their original pieces. To me, it represents not just the freedom, but also family, which is pretty cool, I think, which is very important to the Veterans Memorial and all the things that take place in our square. So, that being said, I try not to get emotional sometimes like I do, but this is the one that I'm pursuing, this particular piece, and I want everybody to hold on to your hat, is $24,500. I visited already with Representative Douglas, of course Gary. I've not spoken to Senator Files yet, but I think they have, and we're seeking funding through those folks to see what can be raised or what they can donate to it. Gary and I talked about this. Depending on how much money can be brought in through those folks, we will then go to the community and do some sort of a campaign to try to raise some money. Now, I feel very confident, I think Gary does, that we can raise the money for the statue. And this bronze, it's not brass. I made the mistake of referring to brass out there, and they said, no, that's a whole world difference. But it is bronze. It'll be there forever. I say forever. I know I witnessed the tornado too, and that can do anything, but it would be there for a long time. So I guess I'm just going to bring it back to the council, give you an update of what I'm pursuing. If you have any questions or comments, I'd be glad to answer or defend.
You're pursuing this with the local artist, right?
Yes, correct. They live at Shadow Lake. I'm sorry, did I say Shadow Lake? Yes.
Yes, you did.
That other lake.
Jack Nolan.
Jack Nolan.
That cost you.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did, and yes, it will.
And is this, represent the mom and dad and the 3 babies, that's what you're pursuing?
Yes, that statue, all of those pictures are kind of just a different text, and there's for the crowd. If you have not seen it, be glad to pass it around.
Can you see that from the road?
You can, and we've already took the artist, if you will, to the square, and they've looked at it. They'll raise it up. The idea is to raise up. You know, if you've not been to the square lately, that's all filled with dirt underneath the clock tower. The plan was to plant trees and shrubs, and we kind of did that. The idea now is to remove the dirt. Whether we do a water feature or not is yet to be determined. But the artist, and I just looked at him. I said, "Listen, we're going to take your suggestion." I'm not an artist, obviously, but the idea is to put boulders in the middle and have this set up, perched, if you will, up high enough to where as you're driving by the square, you'll see it very prominent. And the lights that are already there, the floodlights that are already there that shine up, really what they do now is light up the bottom of the tower, and not because there was other plans, would be aimed on this. We already have the lighting. So obviously there would be some cost beyond the 24.5 just for the statue, but I feel very confident that our own departments can do, if not all, most of that rock placement, boulders. I've already talked to Ms. Bell about swiping boulders from her property at the Bell Park, below the park, that sort of thing. So with the and there would be a plaque too. I'm sorry, with placed appropriately in the right size with donors' names on it. Certainly. So yes, sir.
I'm just saying with the boulders and then the size of the statue. Now, how would that interfere with getting access to the clock? Just, got the clock running, which I'm very pleased with, but I want to make.
That was one of the first things I checked with Mr. McKinney. If you'd address that, that'd be great. If you throw me under the bus.
You know I'll do that. Now, we did address that in the placement. They'd have to line it up where we saw was the ladder up in there. That has been.
And if he falls on a bronze eagle.
Yeah,
That won't hurt.
What a way to go.
What a way to go. So I'm not asking for any funding. I'm just kind of informing you of what my pursuit is, and if you see a reason for me to stop in my tracks. And I definitely have the blessing of the Parks Commission to pursue it. So. Now, I'm not saying, and by the way, the process to make this will be 9 months. And they took us through step by step. It is not taking some play and bronze in it. It's very, in fact, it would go to Texas. The only thing they can't do at their home is the firing. They have to take it to Texas, get fired, bring it back. So, and he is willing to get this particular, and what I really like about it is they live here, and she's from here, and he's a veteran. so many little things. Some of the other things that I didn't pass around, and this book has got other statues of their work. In fact, they have 3 or 4 at their home in the yard, and the inside of their home is, they're everywhere, the miniatures. So, any questions or concerns?
Well, this, there's not multiple eagles. This is the one that you're looking at.
This is it. This is the one I.
How much do you think you can raise, and how much do you think you want from us?
Here's what I did, and I don't want to say too much. Representative Charlotte, when I first started looking at this, and again, I was looking at a single eagle. The ones I was looking at were anywhere, and by the way, if you Google eagle statues, you can find them much, much cheaper. But you have to understand that most of those are coming from Japan and or China. That didn't ring right with me. That's our freedom. So when I found this local event, these local artists, to answer your question, the first original cost was around $15,000. And when I presented that to Charlotte, Representative Douglas, she said between, and I don't want to say she absolutely said she could, but between her and Santa Claus, she didn't think that would be a big issue. Now that it's 24/5, it could be an issue. We haven't got the response back. We don't know for sure. So whatever is still we're needing, I would go to private donors first. And then if that doesn't work, then I'll come back to council to see if the city would want to participate in it.
You're reminding me of the Tedford two-step. Is what I used to.
I really don't have the number.
Just an idea, half?
Oh, I don't think so.
You don't want half? You
I don't think I
want
would.
half from us?
No, but if you want to give it, we'll take it.
I'm just trying to
I don't
figure
think
out.
so. I'm looking at Gary too.
As we think about this, and I know the fireworks is a lot to the community, and I recognize that. I bring a lot of folks in here, and I like the fireworks, but we don't even bat an eye at dropping 10 grand on stuff that goes up in smoke once a year. And this would be a permanent addition to the city. Everybody would look at a permanent symbol of freedom, the 4th of July, it all ties in together. We end up having to look at spending more money on it, I think it's worth considering.
Rod, to answer, I really don't know the answer. I'm really not trying to two-step you. I would think, I don't want to, if I say a number, it'll be, if I say 5,000 and I come back and I need 10, I'll be.
Sounds like to me what you need to figure out is if they're willing to help and if they don't.
Who?
Charlotte.
We're waiting on the answer.
That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Once you figure out what.
I'll be back.
Then you come back and say, hey, well, then because they may come back and say, we can't,
Sure.
know it all. And then,
Sure.
and like Dr. Johnson said, I don't have a problem.
I don't think I'm going to get an answer that they won't help at all. I don't think for a second, but you're right, I'll be back.
Or if on the city, we, see, maybe where we all give a little, maybe some from the AP Commission, maybe some from general fund.
I think it's great. I think it's a pretty good AMP project.
It is in the parks, it's enhancing the number one parks, and maybe even though the parks told you to go packing, but maybe.
They didn't. I didn't ask them for money. I wanted their approval on the project.
Maybe a little there.
I would say in general, the feeling of the council is it's worth pursuing, and pursue ahead and come back and let us know.
Okay. Mr. Kennedy.
And on behalf of the parks, we did not tell them to go packing. There was no money discussed, and I'm certain that the Parks Commission, I won't speak for all, but I'm sure they would like to contribute to this.
But if there was 5 from the parks and 5 from AMP and 5 from general fund, 5,000.
Right.
That's $15,000, and that's not a huge hit. I mean, that doesn't hurt too bad.
5 from each council member.
Yeah.
Especially those that have private work for themselves. Just
the time, when you commission a piece from a local artist, what's the time frame? Because like the Darby statue.
9 months. 9 months. Like a baby.
Yeah.
Like a baby.
Sorry.
And they require half.
And they before they actually begin, not construction, process. They want half.
Okay.
So they know us, they're aware of it.
Well, they live here. So we could end up with a nest with 3 eaglets and no mama or daddy.
So this, we need to do more, probably awaiting competitive bidding, or?
I would say just wait and see if they've got money.
It doesn't fall in line, I mean, but it's gonna be spent
And it's
on the city, so.
No, if we do it, I think,
It's
we
over
need
20.
some sort of
ordinance
Would we,
maybe?
or is this professional service?
This is professional services.
Yeah.
There's not many people that do that.
I know,
I
it.
think we'd be able to wait if it didn't.
And I didn't, yeah, we
We
visited
just,
short.
let's not forget that one.
Right, that is a pretty important detail. But you're right, I don't think there's a whole lot of bronzers in it. There could be. Jim does everything else. Jim, do you bronze?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will pursue it and move on, and as soon as that I get a reply back from a representative and our senator, I'll come back and let you know what's needed. Fair enough?
We'll put a Wi-Fi tower on the.
You may not. Maybe on the tower itself, I don't know, Richard. Okay, thank you so much for indulging me on that. Number 8, I'm going to remove from the agenda. After discussing, I discussed that with our city attorney, so I'm just going to remove that. So actually, everything, the numbers will just go on. After we get there, yeah, we're there now. The parks, I believe, am I out of order there?
Nope, no, we're done.
Number 9.
Just met and.
Okay.
The resolution you have before you, as I've already been passed out, this is what we had proposed in our 2016 budget at the beginning of the year. You guys went ahead and stripped out all pay raises. These are for my 2 employees. And I'd like to go ahead and we have the money in our account to do that. As we did at the beginning of the year, we expect to go ahead and implement that retroactive to January 1st. Our 2 employees, or one of our employees is the lowest paid in the city, so I'd like to fix that. This does not address my salary at all.
Are you expecting to get these part-time help as when grass growing season?
They're already hired.
You already got it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had 3 positions funded, and I've already hired 2 as a local picks up. And I bring those guys in at $9.10 now.
I make a motion to pass this resolution.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to pass resolution.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. McDaniel?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Yes, unanimous.
I got this thing.
Thank you. Number 10, firearm ordinance discussion.
Oh, did we miss the?
Yeah.
You made a motion to table this.
What's the status of our firearms ordinance? There isn't one?
No, there is one, right? It's what we had.
There is.
Yes. Right, under the current ordinance, if you've got a certain amount of land, you can go out and have a firearm.
That's still there.
Yes.
We had scheduled a study session per council's request, and we had 2 show, which of course we couldn't move with that, we dismissed that, didn't have that, so we're back.
Basically, I guess if we don't do anything, obviously this ordinance stays in place. Allows people to fire firearms if they have a certain amount of acreage. Also, the BB guns, the archery. I think part of it in there was about hunting also, if I remember correctly.
Are we having a problem with it right now at all? I mean.
No, the only thing that came, I mean, we've had some calls about firearms being shot, but, I mean, we told a few people that as of right now, you know, this is the ordinance and they're allowed to do it, they have that amount of acreage.
I have a copy of it here. Anybody else has seen it?
It started with the acreage that was next to Westwood. That's when the talk started.
What was your question, or did you have a question about the hunting? Did you say something?
It's like mission hunting in there.
We all studied it and passed it the first time, right? This is the same ordinance that we all looked at and passed. And the only
Yes.
issue that came up was the guy was questioning whether he was actually okay with what he was doing out on Westwood.
But if I remember the conversation correctly, excuse me, it was going to be for the area that we were looking to annex only. when we spoke about the incorporated
That's
area
not what
rating.
the ordinance read. That
Right,
wasn't my,
yes.
that wasn't my understanding when I passed the ordinance. I think I knew we were doing this for folks that had extra land that already were in the city limits.
Would you like a copy real quick, or you want me to read the part of the 19 to you?
I think, well, you can read it.
Well, I just don't want us to.
Well, I think, you know, it was my understanding it was for all, you know, lands that applicable, because I was thinking, I would be putting myself kind of at jeopardy if I just said, we're only letting it apply to annexed lands that are really
I feel like that
annexed.
was fair when you
That's
did.
what
That's
started
why I
the
felt like we
conversation.
needed to.
Well, the annex process is what started the whole thing.
It did. It
We
started
had
discussion.
some concerned people that quite a bit of acreage, that that's when we got into deep discussion about shotguns and that kind of stuff, and the rifles.
I think at some point annexation deal would come back up again.
Right,
We'll
so
be right back here in the same, it was, you know, we went through a lot of discussions and thought to pass this ordinance. There was a lot of times when it studied it, and this may not be a perfect ordinance, but I think we were thoughtful in our approach to passing it, and had good reasons to make the accommodations we were making for folks that are larger landowners. Towards maybe bringing larger landowners into the city at some point in the future. If we change this now, we're gonna have to come back and revisit it at some point and apply the whole thing again. And unless you're receiving just an inordinate amount of complaints from citizens saying that folks are firing these weapons out in my neighborhood and it's bothering me, then I probably would be inclined to let the ordinance stand as it is and move on.
I appreciate it, just for clarification.
With the thought being that if at some point in the future, you're getting a bunch of complaints from citizens saying, hey, this is really disrupting my life here in Greenwood, then all means we would want to come back there and visit that.
That's why I was asking, that's why I was saying, you know, we had a bunch of complaints.
Yeah, I
had
think
something
so,
bad
yeah,
happen, you know,
yeah.
because of that, and it might be worth addressing, but for me, I'm kind of like, I think we just put it in place, so we don't have to.
Well, I know the county gets a lot of complaints, because, I mean, you get to the point, you have people out there, I know one particular case where the neighbors don't like the people that have automatic weapons next door, that are shooting all the time. I don't think it's a problem right now, because it's kind of in question what people can do, but it isn't typical for people to be allowed to shoot firearms within city limits, if you look and search that, but I basically want clarification, so I knew what to tell people and knew what to do, so whatever your wishes are is what to do.
I say we leave like it is.
So you're in the enforcement side of it, what part do you not like? You do not like firearms being fired at all in the city limits, right? That's my feeling?
Yes.
But that was the same conversation we had when we passed the ordinance the first time.
Yes.
And you being in enforcement, you're worried about safety, you're worried about the safety of the citizens.
I think what Doc says makes a lot of sense. I mean, there was a lot of time and effort put into the existing version of the ordinance. And unless there are specific changes that someone wants to bring to be made, because when you open it back up, you know what, I mean, you know what's
We
going to
went through
happen.
a lot of time and discussion. I think when we passed it, we knew it wasn't perfect, but I think we were making our best effort to try to make something that was reasonable.
That was one of the deals, because we talked about case-by-case scenarios, because, I mean, you got one guy had 200 acres, one guy had 500 acres. I mean, but we couldn't, that's so.
You're saying we went out of our way for the people that want to be annexed?
No, I think we went out of the way. I think this discussion started with that, but I think the fact that we made it an ordinance for everyone in the city, we weren't trying to single out the folks who were coming in. I think that was the point of time why it applies to everybody. We weren't going to make special concessions for these guys. I think that started the discussion of if you own a big chunk of land in the city, is it reasonable to have some expectation to be able to hunt with certain considerations, to be able to target practice with certain safety considerations taken into account. That was I felt like the time of motivation.
And I think that we also saying that there's always somebody that is the last person, you know, in the city limits, and they're right next to the county, which, you know, has, you know, their rules where they can. And so it's,
I guess your concern was, in section 2, you raised this concern on number 7, an embankment is sufficient. So sufficient's kind of subjective. When people come to you and they ask you, well, my embankment is sufficient, it's 2 foot high. And you say, no, that's not sufficient. And they say, well, that doesn't, give descriptive detail. It's not very objective. It's kind of subjective. What they think is sufficient, what you think is sufficient, are 2 different things. And what's sufficient for Mr. McMillan behind Westwood School, who's now come out with his AR-15, and he's shooting into something here, that's not sufficient. And that's sufficient. That's probably the part I think we've probably failed at, section 2.7, where the embankment just says sufficient, because that's very subjective.
Well, I mean, I don't think that we need to be in a position to be liable, going out and saying, yes, that is sufficient, and then something happens. I think that's what I was trying to
I think the vagueness of it helps in some degree, because if it didn't stop the bullet, then clearly someone was firing into insufficient embankment. And they're liable for that because they were doing something that was against the ordinance, correct? If you're shooting into the embankment, it goes through the embankment, goes out there, then you as the landowner are responsible for firing into an insufficient embankment. Whereas if we say, if we make real specific regulations on how big the embankment is, then we're saying, we're defining what's sufficient. And I think, and then we're at fault because we didn't make our definition broad enough. And I think if we make it general, then the person who owns it is liable for making that determination. And if there's an issue, then they're the ones that,
Would you agree with that, Mr. Hinky? That sounds reasonable.
Yes, sounds reasonable.
And I know that we brought up bow hunting before, and I think we shot that down, but just to understand that this is going to allow shotgun hunting if you have 20 acres. Which I'm not sure how many 20-acre parcels are in the middle of Greenwood, but there's got to be a few.
We find one, we put a flat spot, we'll put an airport there.
This says that,
I think it allows for both hunting season if you have 20 acres, the way it reads.
Yeah, and shotgun also.
It says hunting season and hours, discharge a shotgun, bow, and arrow, or crossbow for hunting purposes within the,
that's a little bit contradictory, isn't it?
Well, it's just saying it's going to
be. New A and C contradictory.
A little bit, yeah, because yeah, a little bit.
But a few years back, we brought up bow hunting and we shot it down. We had game this year talking about.
I think the difference was, though, we were talking about urban hunts, so we weren't going to necessarily, we weren't making any concessions to limit it to land area. We set up some nice residential neighborhood, we shoot, and then you start some of the similar issues, 20 acres in a long ways for a deer to run, if it's injured, not get well with it.
You could.
I don't know what you feel about it, but as far as shotguns, we're going to use that slug or buckshot. But if you think about an elevated position for that, if you're planning on keeping one, that would be one thing I suggest. Just because of the distance the slow could travel.
To require to be in an elevated.
Yes.
One section D of that's got 300 yards. How do you police, let's say there's a horrible accident and somebody is supposedly shooting into that sufficient bank or whatever it's referred to. And we can't determine, or you can't determine that it went through it. We're taking their word that they were shooting at it. The bullet, the shell that goes over the top of that thing. I mean, how do you?
The person who fires the gun is liable. I mean, if you're in the county, which happens all the time, you can run out Bean Ridge Road, and I can sit in my backyard and look into a fellow's pasture who's in the county. He can shoot whatever he wants with no embankment, any direction he wants at my house,
right into
my window. If it hits me, the county's not liable. that guy decided nothing.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily worried about the liability, I'm just for, I mean, with the fact that and I know we're opening it up, and I am, maybe I shouldn't, but just, as the chief said, just allowing it in the city limits, I mean, it's gonna be different than the county. And
This piece of paper right here is a guideline, is what it is.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, we gotta put some faith in some people that, I mean, we're hoping that they're gonna be responsible enough. This gives us a guideline, saying, well, you can't do that. You know, people that own those firearms have got to be responsible for what they're doing, just like Doc said. I mean, if my neighbor in the backyard shoots a shotgun, and I'm in my hole, and it hits me, I mean,
He would be in violation of ordinance, because in section 4B, it says you cannot fire within 300 yards, 3 football fields.
I understand that, but that goes back to what I say, is the guideline, that person that owns that gun has got to be responsible.
But if you, yeah, and that is the problem, if you allow it, period, and I don't know, I'm not necessarily saying that you don't in the city limits, but if you do allow it in city limits, even all the restrictions you can put on it, you can put 100 billion restrictions on it. If you allow it in the city limits, we are saying it's okay to do as long as you do this, and this. We all know that not everybody does that. And I know that goes back to just disallowing it, so I don't know.
Unfortunately, we allow high school kids to drive in town.
Well, that's true. That's true.
A million times more chance of getting killed by those kids. So we were talking about perspective. I think it's fine how it reads. Very personal.
I agree.
Okay. So, we don't have to do anything. It's already there. Yes.
Okay, clarification.
Now you need to know.
Now, okay, good. Back to the, number 11. Thank you, council. Number 11, Charles.
Okay, just, Ann and I went and opened up the sector box at Farmers Bank Branch across the planters to put our store discs in case of disaster. We got written up, you're gonna find out, which is no surprise because it's been consecutively written up, that we don't have a formal disaster recovery plan. So instead of just, Ann is not here tonight, but she was going to kind of just mention the opening up of that box in minutes and put it in minutes. But Farmers Bank really requires something like that. I thought it would be best if we just do it in a resolution fashion this way. It'll be more detailed and everyone will know exactly what's up with it and what the box number is, and you have the key. She and I have the keys to it and are authorized to get into it. So this is just formal documents. Back, and I think it's a good thing to have. And the auditors have asked, I've asked the auditors, will this help anything until we get our formal disaster recovery plan? And they said that it's a step in the right direction. They said it's going to get formally adopted. Just Tim Humphreys, he's the one that's going to be determining whether or not we fulfill what they're expecting of us. So I just asked that you have. Something in there, like this on that.
I move that we adopt the resolution.
Second. A motion is second to adopt the resolution.
Dr. Johnson, did you second that?
I think Roger.
Okay.
Dr. Johnson.
Mr. Dillon, I'll say one. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Terry?
Thank you. To my knowledge, that is the last item on the agenda for that, correct? New business. We will move into department head reports. I would tell the council that or advise the council, there's only 2 department heads here tonight that are due a report, although Richard is here to, I think they basically gave the same report during the commission report. So, assuming you'd like to hear from our departments.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Chad, would you like to come up first? Sure. Department head.
Mayor, council members, Mr. Derry, Mr. Henry. We had a busy month last month, setting a lot of driveway tiles, cleaning ditches and easements. Guys have been painting stop bars, building and replacing street signs and stop signs. We've got people out, brush hogging and all as well. Leaf debris pickup will start tomorrow and on Friday. Got a pretty good sized drainage project. behind O'Reilly's. We'll probably start that next week. Take about a month to complete. One more thing. With the Richards, is it Bell Road?
The trail.
The trail?
Yes.
So it's created an opportunity inside the shop to create some parking. And there's a guy wire with a pole there that we'd like to remove. Contacted the electric company. They give us an estimate to remove that, remove the lines, go underground. I think it was about $6,000. But with that being said, it required a 20-foot easement, which would go through the recycle center. So before I would pursue that, I'd like y'all's thoughts on
It certainly looked better. I mean, coming down the road, removing that.
Right now, what runs alongside the road is state.
Yeah. This,
Now, that's something that Doug's looking at maybe in the future. He did speak with the gentleman about getting a price on this.
yeah, the gentleman that came, was a very nice guy and was not willing to give a price, because I asked him just that, you know, from the poles that Chad was referring to on the corner there, to go on down in front of the recycling center all the way down to Mizell's property, or as far as we could. He looked at me and he said, I don't think he said you can't afford it, I think he said you don't want it. And I said, no, I kind of do. And he never really would give a quote. And I told him, I said, I promise I won't hold you to it. So he never did say it. What he was referring to, more importantly, is on point at Richard, where that the creek is that comes out of Randy Mizell's pasture. There's your cost, because they would have to bore underneath all the water, sewer, whatever's there. He said it would be very costly, and that's all he would ever say. I could still get a cost. In fact, Stuart and I, Chief Ryan met with him, the same engineer, this afternoon, to, now that, you know, we're talking about this, everybody kind of and I'm glad everybody's interested and has the thought of, let's get rid of these overhead utilities. Because Bell Park, for instance, is great. You know, you can go from fly a kite and never have to worry about it, although we're not going to be flying kites. But anyway, we visited with him about even removing in front of at the corner of the fire station drive, which I know is a little bit of a hazard or safety issue of traffic coming and, you know, you guys pulling out with your trucks, and there's two poles very close together, and just an awful lot of stuff up there. That's what I call that stuff.
Especially with that sidewalk, man.
Yeah, with the sidewalk. So we visited with them again today to maybe even back up to those poles, and the discussion led to, not great, but about moving it over on the side of the others, maybe moving it over on our neighbors. Our neighbors may not be good to hear this, but they do have an easement, obviously, the power company. So, not just the $6,000. I think it's very worthwhile when he's looking at that $6,000. To me, makes all the sense in the world to remove those lines from around them, because one, they've got backhoes and all that stuff coming in and out. I think it's just a good thing, and it would look better. So we're pursuing even a bigger project. I have no idea what that will cost. I'll get back with you on that. But in the meantime, the biggest thing, and I rose the question myself. That's why I think Chad was.
The easement.
While we were standing there, you're going to put a 20-foot easement from that. You just kind of have to know where that pole is and go up diagonally, basically in front of where the dumpsters are, or the recycling.
It's going to create a problem for Richard's Trail. Which is something
Okay.
we felt to discuss today.
Okay.
If this is something that they want us to move forward with.
We need to do it prior to that. Yeah, so everything's lined up. So
actually, the pole is just before you get to the first gate.
Right.
He would not allow us to dig under, so the reason the cost is down is because we would do the digging, and we would have to supply the pipe for the water to go through.
But I just didn't want to move forward, and I know Chad didn't either, without you guys realizing that once we put that underground, we're not, 100 years from now, if somebody's still around, they can't put a building on top of that. That easement.
So right now it would be, he was going to redraw it. He didn't think that it would change price-wise. Since he would not let us go underneath the fence, he was going to have to turn it, go into the drive, through the gate, back, it's like 200 feet, something like that, back to the mulch pile, set a box, and then go back.
So you can address his issue, and then later will be the rest of it, because if that can go underground without anything else being done, decides to pursue that, we'll come back with a different cost.
Yeah, that's just something that, I didn't know how y'all feel about the 10-foot easement, future, if that's something that you would go on in the future, what you're talking about.
Yeah, build a building, but you can build a trail or sidewalk or landscaping. Just looks better.
The easement he's talking about would go straight back into the recycling center, straight back, just through the property, just kind of, you know where the, you know how the I call them dumpsters, at least the bins.
Paper bins, plastic
Would
bins.
be right in front of them, right?
Correct. Straight back towards the creek.
It's kind of cutting the property in half, not really in half, but.
Well, and I think I've got a good visualization on it, and I'm thinking maybe I don't. And I was wondering, is there any way that, is there a critical thing that, we need to get this done tonight? Or can we come back with kind of a drawing to see exactly how it is going to impact the recycling center and how much land we are kind of giving up?
In my opinion, you can answer that better than I can. I think the biggest thing is holding the trail moving forward on, because that needs to happen. If you're gonna do it, it's gotta happen before they pour that sidewalk, trail.
Richard, was your plan to stop at the first drive?
Second drive.
Second drive?
Yeah, and I can skip that
You
area
can skip
if we
it?
need to,
Okay.
and then start doing the creek crossing and moving on up.
So, no,
It's not
I don't
possible,
guess.
it's not possible to put a big enough sleeve underneath what you're doing where they.
I could if I knew exactly, we would still have to, the gentleman that come out, I believe he would actually be able to write up the easement himself for us. If he were to give me the dimensions, where it would be, yeah, I could put a sleeve in there. But of course, it's something we'd have to move forward and say, yes, we're going to do this. Can you come out and show us where the easement's at? Move from there.
And then we can sleeve it, and then you guys can think about the rest of it later if we need to.
It just seems like.
And the rest of it will have it certainly drawn out. Exactly.
I've got a good idea. If it's something that you want me to, I can put 2 sleeves in there. That way if I miss
You put 2 sleeves and you put a little notch in the sidewalk on both sides of the trail, and you know exactly where it's at. And then when you
I'll
move forward
find out.
and do it all correctly, we can do it all at one time.
We'll have to see what kind of sweeps they would need. And on that part there, you might be able to answer on some of the electric. It'd be solid pipe, so as it would make, if it were to make a 90 turn, it would be, I guess the pipe would be flexible enough to make it bend.
Depends on the wire size, but you're gonna have to have like 4 or 5 foot sweep.
Okay.
And that's going to have to be 36 inches deep.
4 foot.
4 foot.
Okay, that's another issue too, with all of your other stuff.
4 foot.
Fiber optics and
Every
everything.
now and then, they're still not plastic.
Correct. I know that we gotta have 3 foot going into the box itself.
By burying all this stuff, it puts us in a better position with people doing development, because we're constantly trying to get them to, Michael's coming up and dealing with the planning commission, and we're telling them, you need to bury all this, you need to make it look good, and they just go, your place looks like a dump, why do we have to do that? So it just puts us in a better position.
If you ever wanted the decorative lighting that we all keep saying we want everywhere else, and you look down there and say, okay, we put some decorative lights, but they get lost in all the poles and the wire. What's the use?
Speaking of all that, so we put all this under here, you're talking about doing it as a project. What about going ahead and putting the decorative lighting down along the trail that Richard's putting?
Well, that would be the phase of, you can't do it if we can't bury the lines, but.
I like that. The only thing that you said that I didn't like is taking our ugly stuff and pushing it across the road on our neighbors.
Well, I didn't either, and I only said it because that's what the engineer was suggesting.
I think that's a bad idea.
I do too. That's to keep it above ground.
But it would be great if we took the trail that Parks is dealing with and went ahead and added decorative lighting and got all of our stuff
That'd do
underground.
everything we can underground.
The more detailed, and there'll be some pretty major deals, and one that you'll recognize immediately, not this $6,000 project, but the bigger project is coming down Atlanta in front of the post office. But if you know, and we need to fix this anyway, my opinion, I'm not looking at anybody to answer, I guess I can get it done, as they say. the ditch on this side of the drive off of Atlantic going to the post office is an open ditch. And we can't put a pole there, even if the power company says, well, we can, well, because there's an easement. That's not a very friendly thing to do, to shove over on the post office side. But their sign is pretty much in the way. They certainly will not hang this over the top of the sign. I said, asking the post office to move the U.S. Post Office sign is probably a little more congressional than just doing it. So a lot of, as you do things, reactions for action, free action. But there's a ditch that we ought to fix anyway. I believe.
Well, I guess still again, I'm thinking some ways, an idea of, to extend, city properties, on up, this side of Bell Road up, that way. I guess I would still just kind of like to see, it all I kind of want to.
Sure.
Drawing, I can kind of, get a better grasp for, but also see how, like Richard said, that the trails is kind of going up there. It's going to be done. I think I'm gathering it's going to be going. Part of it's going to be going Bell Road, right? Up to, is it up to Atlanta, or is it going to go back into the creek as soon as you can?
I hope to go back to the creek as soon as we can.
But I would kind of like to see the trail layout there, and how it's going to affect, and if we do it as the cowboy property, possibly how that, is going to be kind of impacted. And
if we filled the ditch there in front of the post office, tiled it, put a sidewalk on top of it, we now would have all the way up to the next street. I mean, that's the next block. I can't remember what that street is. Well, we'll definitely bring back detailed drawings of that.
While y'all are into all this, I don't know what the wishes are of the council, but my wishes are, while we're into all this, and while the parks is putting that trail in, we need to just fix it right. Go ahead and run the street lights down through there, fix the drainage. Let's just do it all right, all the way down. There's a lot of people turning right here. This is kind of the back entrance to our school, but in some cases with athletic events, it kind of turns into the main entrance. And this, coming from City Hall, it needs to look good. And so I know it costs, but we need to fix this.
It would be nice that what the city does to be as nice as what we ask everybody else.
Yes, it would be nice. Yeah.
And just the addition of the sidewalk that y'all done in front of the fire department. I mean, it looks great.
Right.
It is long overdue.
It's a trail, not something.
Yeah, you got to call it a trail.
It's a trail.
It's correct.
And the 20 feet doesn't bother me. It's just, I'm not bothered about the 20 feet.
Okay. And would you like to see a drawing on that?
But I'd still like to see, just kind of see on the trail how you want to try to curve back in there. I mean, I just kind of like to see kind of what
He's only Richard can get you something on the trail, but I can get you something on the 20 feet.
I don't know somebody, as much as a drawing, just a good comprehensive idea in conjunction with Richard of what we're wanting that to look like. So that, measure twice and cut once. Let's think through it, make sure we've got it fixed the way we want so that we're thinking ahead to maybe lighting that section.
Well, I'll have to get with Richard to see how he wants to.
But I think in general, if the question is, do we as a council feel like what you're talking about doing is the right thing to do, I would say we all say yes. Just make sure we have done it thoughtfully and not just, because there may be opportunity to dovetail more than what you're doing into some of the other projects people are looking at.
I don't think this conversation should slow down the trail of the parks. I mean, it's just, I think three heads get together and the sleeve goes here, the sleeve goes there, and then sleeve the sidewalk every 20 feet or whatever, and that takes care of our lighting. When we go back to add lighting, I mean, it's just a matter of planning.
Yeah, I'd
Well, I think it's
like
key word.
soon, because we started trying to get trail over Crooked Creek, Corps of Engineers, city stopped me there. We tried to get it up Main Street, and get stopped there for easement issues. I thought Bell Road was going to be okay, let's make some progress.
Now you get this
Not
momentum
so much.
blocker.
Yeah, right.
Well,
If we had
and
stopped
I
them,
don't see that, I mean, I think that we can work through it, Richard. If, let me get over the engineer, and, because I know that we're not gonna move our entrance gate going into the recycle center. So I can go off that pole 20 foot, and I can turn it and go back where he wants to go.
I don't think you're looking at more than one crossing from where even if he meandered a lot.
I just have to find out from the engineer.
Yeah.
I
Where
don't
he's
see,
coming down, what I'm required to put in.
Right.
I don't want it to be a momentum blocker either. I mean, I like what the progresses we're doing. I just kind of like dovetailing what Dr. Lee said. I'd rather like, measure twice and cover once, and I'd like to see how this is going to, impact, everything, the trails, the recycling center, but also the development maybe of city property going north along Bell Road, all of that kind of, just to say that we are doing, proper planning.
Are you still looking for a definite yes or no to spend your $6,000 on burying those lines without?
No, I think
You're okay?
The next council meeting, I'll set the
Okay.
but I think I got an idea that would be fine with them.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'll go with Richard.
Okay. Now, good luck with that.
I got a couple questions. Talk about drainage. Yes. I brought it up to Joe, and he just told me to do that. North Main, up there between Chastain Way and the entrance to Bell Park, those ditches through there. They're hard. We're overlooking on 9 yards. When I first brought it up, said there was no way to fill those things in because there's so much water coming in there. And I've seen the pictures, you Clyde Holland's yard, it's in these little sunroom on 9 yards, it's 2 foot deep in there. Sure to God, there's something we can do to clean that up. I mean, we've got all that stuff at Bell Park, it's nice. You go up through there and you've got these 2 ditches that look like, I mean, they're hideous, just making a short point out of it. So I want to see if there's something we can't do, maybe try to clean those up, or I'd like to see them filled in personally, is what I'd like to do. I don't know what it's going to take.
On the west side of Main?
Yes. By Bobby Turner's driveway right there, all that stuff, it's just, I mean, I know that stuff comes across the road, but
The only way you're gonna clean it up is in that area there with big pipe.
okay.
I mean, that or you're gonna go to retaining wall. I mean, there's no shoulder deep ditch, so.
What's our
Everything runs so
that's
tight,
what I'm saying.
everything runs so close to the road, you can't go in there and put a 3-4 slope on nothing.
Right.
We went in there and we put some brick in places, it looks okay.
But you're telling me we could possibly make over there and put some pipe in and cover
If
it up?
it's the area which I'm thinking of, yes, it's a deep, ugly, wide ditch,
Yeah,
right through there, it's an eyesore.
You're talking about right in front of Jay Lynch's house.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yes.
And the only thing you're looking at is pipe.
Well, I don't know if you guys talking about the mayor, but I just,
What are we talking about?
I'd like for us to look at pursuing that and cleaning it up.
Your big pipe that you just got.
The pipe that we've got 180 linear feet. Initially, it was going to cost $18,000, because we got $100 a foot. And it ended up getting, I think, $46 a foot, so.
That's just the cost of the pipe.
That's just cost of the pipe. Of course, we'll install it, we'll have. There, behind O'Reilly, we'll have a couple head walls on either end. I think there's probably 30,000, I think it's budgeted for drainage. That project will probably eat close to half, that we have budgeted for that, so. Really, Lance, I have to go up there and I have to look at what's up.
That's all
there.
I mean, I just like.
And I can take some shots, and that's something I can get back with you, but as far as that area, it's just it'd have to be pipe.
But it's doable.
It's doable.
But Lance, would you be looking also on the east side there, or on the
All that
opposite?
we can do up there to clean that up, I mean, we got a lot of, like Richard just said, when we've got that ravine booked every weekend, we've got lots of traffic goes up through there, and it's just, I don't know, we talk about trying to make stuff look better, so it's always.
I mean, we can pipe it, you can make a green space out of it, I think there was some things that they was looking at, is anytime that they pipe up, I don't know if it's something that y'all had in place, but they was like, well, if we're gonna pipe it, we'll curb the gutter, but throw the inlets going into a box, so then, if that's something you want, we pipe, you put a box, throw the inlet, it's just, your cost goes up. Something like that.
And I know there's a lot of water goes down through there, I mean, like I say,
I probably have to get somebody like Michael maybe to draw it up, get an engineer involved.
I personally would like to pursue it if we can, if you don't mind taking the time to
We'll burn it off.
do what you can do, see if we can clean it up, make it a little bit more presentable.
Well, I would, just what you said though too, I was looking at trying to, just pipe is great too, but I'd like to say, you know, if it needs to cause a curve and inlets in there, you know, I think that, that's something that needs to be addressed. 'Cause I mean, I just didn't want to just cover it up and still say, oh, well, we're showing, you know, excess water on down the street.
You know, whether the road breaks, what's trying to throw it into the ditch, you know, we'll just have to go over and shoot it, let's see what we got.
I mean, I know we addressed that at the police station, so, well, where's the inlet box gonna be there and stuff like that. I think, you know, I still would want it to satisfy the runoff needs, but also still look aesthetically pleasing there. I mean, not just cover it up, but also allow for,
I
you know.
mean, it's work that we can do, I mean, we can do the work ourselves. I mean, that's something that we can do, you know, we might have to have somebody maybe drive it up, but for the most part, you know, we can do it. So you don't have that cost on, I don't know, something like that y'all would have to put it up for bid, or for something that we can do, I mean, I don't know where you stand on that.
Well, state law says anything over 25,000 has to be engineered.
I believe that's going to, depending on what you want to do, but I think it's going to be
Pretty quick.
Little things that,
But in the past, we've not even had an opportunity to know how much. I mean, you said it a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, I mean,
We're just.
I don't think anything's impossible if you take the time to work together on it, you know, and get it worked out.
It can be fixed.
That's all I want to do. Okay. I mean, the other question I had for you is, it's nothing, I'm not proud, just, we got plans in the future for doing some paving with that paper?
Yes.
Good price.
And
The reason I say is we got some small streets here in town that we can practice on. So
well, we've got a place out at the ocean, you know, I told you, and I told you it'd be sometime in May, and we plan on doing that, of course, it's all weather permitting, but right now, the only place that we can get any mix, well, there's two places. You got Arcola, and Van Buren, and jail will be around Poto. With Arcola, it would be a type 3 mix, and it's, you know, depends on when they're running it. It's something I'd have to call up there to find out when they're running, and then we'd have to coordinate what we're gonna do, you know, what streets we're gonna be working on. So whenever they're running, we can get trucks up there to get in all material down. So, yes, it's something that we, you know, even though we got the drainage that we want to start, working with Richard on this trail as well, but yes, our plans are this month to do that. So, and the Oaks is one place that we will start. It's a patch that we've had up for 9 months. There's several new homes that's been built right there by that. I think they're about done with that. So we can get in there and get that and then move on.
The road around Bell Park is hideous. I wish we could do something with it.
Big
Been
great
bad
place
for
to
years.
practice at Bell Park.
Denver Street, all the way from.
From Center to 71?
Yeah. So you really have not much to do
No,
with
from
that.
Webster to 71. I just go from Webster, where Webster comes across the 71. I come to there a while ago, and I'm about toward the
I
low rate.
don't know that we have that much money to do that.
Well, it's not a state highway, so we can't have them way off, we can't run way
I know,
off.
but I think that you're up to several million, I don't think we have that.
Parks, the chairman of the Parks Commission had mentioned to me that she didn't, that the street department told her that Bell Park, the road into Bell Park was not a city street.
Who said that?
Cindy Bell.
You said it wasn't?
She said that she'd been told by the street department that it was not
Oh,
a
that's-
city street, and I told her, well, it's wrong,
That's
because
past.
it is a city street.
Well, that's fine, go to Denver then.
That's in the past.
Okay.
Well, my thing
Wasn't
is,
nice, so.
my thing is we got the tax money that we've never spent. I mean, we're going to really and truly fix one street. It's on there when we put the bridge in and a little bit over there. I mean, so some of this other stuff needs to, in my book, we need to start, I mean, because if we sit around and wait on the highway department and all that kind of debt, meet their needs, and we're never going to have no money anyhow. So, I mean, we need to start doing some of this stuff. I mean, like,
I
it's
completely
25.
agree that the people need to see something done with their tax
I
dollars.
don't want them to be on Denver Street, because Ward 1 doesn't get any respect.
It's the road you need.
Except for all businesses and millions of dollars of tax we have that.
So I'm just saying, I mean, I'd like to see some of the street stuff, like the, I mean, that drainage, if it's 25,000, I mean, I know you got 25,000 to deal with fix streets and some drainage and stuff, so.
See if we can keep the cost below that, we don't have to put up.
Right, exactly,
Save money.
right, exactly. But I'm just saying that, I mean, I know the fund.
And you take like in Denver where he's talking about, it's not just a surface issue as far as asphalt, you've got issues on your subgrade road.
That's,
And-
You've got water.
Grand Magnolia over there,
That's it.
oh my God.
And let me say on Chad's behalf, Chad, and I want to remind everybody that Chad is an interim position.
Chad here is a nightmare.
I know he did, and he's done.
And I know that, I'm not picking on
No,
Chad.
I know you're not, no, I know you're not. I just want to say that he has taken on a nightmare, and he's working through it, he's doing a fantastic job.
It's just,
How long is it gonna be here?
Well, the ad is in the paper this week, and so we gotta go through that, and then we'll work on it, and working on Chad too. But anyway, so you know that he's got a lot, and he took on a lot immediately. And I know you're not grafting it at all, but they've been out there practicing. They laid a beautiful sand road
We're good at
out front of
sand.
the street department, and they got their roller, and I saw the roller over there the other day. I forgot we got that.
Yeah, we've got every,
I like to ride on that puppy.
come on over.
I just have a hard time constructing the fact that somebody telling you, no, that can't be done.
Yeah, I know, believe me, and we're beyond that now.
That's what I'm saying, that's what
We're
I'll
past
get
it.
you to look at the ditch out there that goes into Adams and Greenwood by docks.
I've already looked at it.
Can we do anything with it? I mean, is it a clean out deal?
Yeah, it's actually one of the other. It does look nice.
It's a fill, you'll have to fill, and then the amount that you fill, you end up actually filling up part of Brock's fence.
You are talking about from his gate.
From his gate down to the
To
creek.
get the water to run in the creek.
Yeah. Yeah, you get, I went and shot that last year, when we went down and actually cleaned up from underneath it, and done the water yet and all that.
There's a big
Daniel,
one.
it's pretty flat. As a matter of fact, you get about halfway, it's got a belly. And, where one of his little ponds is out there, when it fills up, it actually overflows and runs to the fence, to that belly, so it's always over water. To go in there and to dig, you're talking about an extremely deep ditch, you know, even if, if you put it at 1%, that's flat, try to run something a little more than that, to carry the water, you don't want to go, 2% would be too much. But, after looking at it, it's really, it needs to be filled. A lot of that needs to be filled, to try to get what we need. When you do that, you're gonna encroach onto his fence. Of course, it's all broken up in trees, but I mean, he doesn't want cattle in there, so.
Just got to where it holds the water all the time.
I can go back down and reshoot it and see, try to see how deep it would be and see if there's something we could do.
It's all flat, I don't know what.
It's about midways, it's got a pretty good cover. It's just open.
Just the fact that we're, and when I say we, that you, or they're going out and shooting these things instead of just getting out of the truck and eyeballing it, that's a big deal for us. I don't mean that sarcastically, I mean, it's, we're looking at it seriously, and how to fix it right instead of just eyeballing it.
Yeah, the eyeball days are over.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
No, it's.
When I was doing the mayor,
They've got-
we would look at so many of that stuff. It would just be a look and an overwhelming feeling, discussion.
And you get, well, we can't.
Right. That's my laugh.
No, it's just, you just don't set up the road to dig. There's an outlet, there's an inlet.
And that's these little yards, that are these yards that you go out constantly, and people, we get called, I mean, Tammy takes calls all the time, can you come and dig her ditch out, or why did you dig her ditch out? And there's a reason for why we do, and there's a reason why sometimes you don't, because it's already worse off than it would have been if you dug it, so. That's what is great about what Jab's been doing, using the equipment that we got, and making the right decision.
I actually get more people calling one than don't do it.
Right, right.
Yeah, so it's more positive than negative.
Yep.
One other thing I wanted to, I was shopping at Dollar General the other day, and just seeing how, well, we fixed up the, the police department, interest there, from Lebanon Park Drive, and I said, we have this street that runs right smack dab into a utility felt. I was wondering, what was the reason, we put big rocks on each side of the street to keep people from going around and stuff. I'm just saying, what's the reason why we can't, or why that pole was never removed to begin with and connect the street?
Michael's got a change order for that.
You got a change order. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure anybody knows for sure. I did talk to this is actually before I was mayor. The gentleman that used to be the district manager of Dollar General was visiting with me one day, and I guess he thought because I was parks director, I should have all the answers, but I asked him about that, and he said, we don't want that as an entrance into our store. Now, that was his opinion, and he was a nice guy, but that may be passed, and maybe the corporate people think different. I can't imagine not wanting as many entrances into your store as you can get, but, yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't know. Now, that may be as simple as calling, we call, maybe, calling, Swepco and ask them to move the pole, and then we just add a little asphalt and we're good to go, or do we quote unquote asphalt around the pole? I don't know. But
Is that our road?
That is, everything I can tell, that's not our road.
So it's
Now,
you're talking about.
That's not, the way I remember, it had something to do with, they did not want that to connect.
Yeah, that's not our road, and actually neither is that one.
It's not? No. You said there's someone put up?
Yeah, it's nice to find that.
Spelled right too, huh?
So.
I just like where you're talking about that area, there's a lot of foot traffic that can keep that in consideration when you're talking about sidewalks.
Sure.
And then I like to approach the county about maybe privacy fence, but before doing that, that drainage is a whole nightmare over there also.
The whole thing.
And it's eating apart the man for the substation. I don't know where it put up.
County judges, and if you've ever talked about the county judge about spending money, you have to be prepared for this cold, dead stare of, are you serious? And I don't mean that bad, that's a good thing, because he's very frugal with tax money, but he is willing to partner with us on that whole project if we get an engineer. He doesn't want to do anything without having an engineer and all
Who's
that stuff. Judge Hudson. And when I say the whole project, I'm talking about, like we all will want to do, is going up there and widening sidewalks on either or both sides, and then the decorative lighting, the whole line. I'm not saying he's going to pay for the lighting, but he's open for some things.
Decorative fence.
Decorative fence. Oh, yeah, Steve and I have talked about something in front of that station there, or whatever that's called, yeah.
Get his thoughts on the new form.
Any thoughts?
Also get the judge's thoughts on the new form. We discussed this.
Oh,
So that we were saying that Leland Parker Drive and then that street going up to Dollar General are both private roads.
Yep. Oh, we maintain, I say we maintain, we don't do it all up there, but if it needed, we would. We do, we have put
Who owns
some.
that property?
Well, the corner belongs to Miss Brown, used to be Miss Brown. It was Jody Brown's widow. Those of you that know her. She owns it. What we all thought was Floyd Brown above the police station. And the road. She was in Fort Smith.
Just around the corner.
I talked to her.
Yes, that's it.
So is that a wise thing, that the road that's used quite a bit every day to be,
Not a city road.
yeah, not a city road?
Wise?
And it doesn't say that they could just block it if they wanted to.
I don't know, to be honest with you, because I know the Dollar General, I don't know all the history, but certainly what we've found out so far is it is what it is. Can't imagine Dollar General being there with knowing that it's private and somebody could show up one day mad and put a block in front of it. But then again, maybe they did, maybe it is, I don't know. We have tried to get in touch with, it's not Miss Brown anymore. It is, okay. Miss Brown, to see if even she was interested in selling that property. One, and if she was, then certainly we would get, hopefully we would get the road. And I think Laquita Parker owns still where the Dollar General says, I think.
That's what Stewart found out when he closed it down.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, I guess some investigation would find out exactly who owns what and if they're willing to give it to the city or whatever. I know Chief might have that property I tried to get hold of her just to see if she would be interested in selling it, and she never called me back, so.
I talked to her when we had the open house.
Yeah, about parking.
And asked if we could park on it, and she said, sure. So
Maybe I need to, or should have Tammy call.
I didn't ask her how much she wanted for it, but I'll be glad to call her.
Well, it'd be nice to know how much you want.
Yeah.
Anything more for Chad?
I just want to say I see y'all working around town, I think y'all do a good job. Appreciate it.
The replace the signs, he did mention that, I think the chief brought up, or somebody, there's street signs being replaced.
Yeah, I think always the response is, we just need more and more and more of it. I think what you do, y'all seem to be doing a good job. You seem to be doing a good job. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Chief?
Mayor Council, Ms. Derry, Mr. Handy. Last month, we had 223 calls for service, issued 123 warnings and 73 tickets. We responded to 30 accidents. As far as training, this month we had 378 hours of training. I won't go into detail. I just want to say that of one of those, Hefner went to 80 hours of IPAC, which is Internet Crimes Against Children. And last month, a Greenwood resident was indicted for having over 80 videos of child pornography. So that is happening here, and he's doing a good job of Homeland Security. In CID, they were assigned 21 cases, and they closed 16 for the year. They're at 89% closure rate. Haven't been assigned 81 cases and closed 72. As far as appreciation days, there's actually another one. I think the city should recognize, and that's Teacher Appreciation Day is tomorrow, and I think it's the whole week as far as the week. But we have outstanding schools and teachers who do something. Come this Wednesday, we'll be hosting our 9th class in our classroom this year. So we're trying to utilize that as much as possible. CGI has had 3 classes here, which doesn't cost us anything, which is a good thing. And we've brought in several instructors. This last week we had, Central Christian College of Kansas. Actually, they're the ones that sponsored a leadership class that we hosted here, and had 20 officers from different agencies here to attend that class. Last week, we were at capacity that we had 44 people here for a class, and there was officers from all around this area that attended that class. We did hire 2 people to replace or to take over those openings that we had. Kyle Pippin is one. It is Sergeant Pippin's younger brother. He is a Coast Guard veteran, a Greenwood High School graduate. And the second is Joseph Casanova, who was a Northside graduate and a Marine Corps veteran. They were both sworn in this last week. Mayor was there, and his father said a prayer with the officers and their families, which was nice of him to do. If you haven't heard, Jonathan Bass has been hired by state police, and he is basically gone. They start their troop school, I think, the 8th of this month.
Does that leave one more slot, or one of the?
Yes, that's one that I hope we'll get in the paper this weekend, because with 2 being at the academy and that one short, and then come this summer, I believe 2 of our people are being activated for military orders, so it's going to be difficult to have a full schedule. June 4th is our class that we're hosting, Citizens Response to Active Shooter, that I was telling you about. So that filled up within 3 days. There's 44 people in that class. And after we have this one class, we like to critique it and have another one, because there's still people calling about wanting to attend that. And part of the training is Corporal Wisner and Sergeant Pippin went to Kansas to crate training, which is basically learning how to do this class to the citizens. Also that same day, June 4th, from 1 to 3, we will have CPR training for anyone that wants to attend that. It is a certificate of completion, and we're able to get with EMS to get that accomplished, and there's still, I think, 14 seats open in that, if anyone's interested.
What was the date again?
June 4th from 1 to 3. It's Saturday.
Saturday, 1 to 3. Is that a CPR AED?
Well, I don't know the exact, training. I did ask them about if they're getting a certificate or a card, and this is a certificate of completion. I can get more details for you.
Was that the same day as the citizens?
Yes, because it's in the morning, and then there'll be a lunch break, and then any of those people that want to attend that in the afternoon. We are also hosting a reserve class, which Caitlin, that's in the office now, is going to attend. Jared, animal control officer, Rick, our volunteer in the office, who is a retired Homeland Security agent, and Chief Ryan, so he can be an official fire marshal and carry it if he wishes to do so. I've already called dibs on tasing him.
Can I have a second?
Can we add to that list, just in case there's alternates?
Tasers.
Do we have a pot for that?
The right
I think there's
money.
That's how you register the eagle,
The
right
bronze
there.
eagle.
Hey, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart. He's gone. He's gone. Let's get it going. Let's,
Yeah, the eagle's paid for it, no time.
I do want to bring this up. The shelter, we've had some issues with shelter. Basically, they cut us off without notifying us that they weren't going to be taking dogs. And when I called, it was basically because they didn't have a contract. We haven't had an official contract since 2009, and they've been taking our animals. They have a new director. They went to a no-kill shelter. So basically, they are full all the time now. So when we talked about that earlier with Jared, that wasn't an issue, I don't believe. I spoke to him. I got worked out where he would take dogs, and I signed something. The next day, Jared went up there to take a dog, and they turned him away again. Him and I had a conversation again, and basically I turned it over to the mayor to talk to him because we weren't seeing eye to eye. And he did get that accomplished where they take dogs, but at the same time, they're full all the time. And they made it abundantly clear that Fort Smith is going to have first dibs on getting to take their animals there because they give them money, and also they have an officer stationed there at the shelter. So as far as not doing anything here, I don't know how long Dr. Singer's going to put up with us and take animals, but I can assure you that they probably can't adopt out just the animals that we bring them in a month, let alone Fort Smith. And so I think we need to get back in talks about what we're going to do for the future in case they continue to be full and they don't add on to the shelter because they are pretty much full all the time. And we basically have the dogs running at large when Dr. Singer's full, unless they're vicious. So that's going to be an issue. Clicker ticket campaign is May 16th to June 5th. This is your heads up in the morning. Just know that that's going to be going on. We'll participate in that. It's going to bring up the Boys and Girls Club fundraiser. A few of us volunteered to be locked up, and we had to raise a bond to get out of our jail cells. And we raised almost $4,000, so that was good for them. Again, went to the radio station. I think the mayor and I are going to go at some point. I'm working with Gary Grimes on reviewing our storm sirens. I don't know when we purchased those, but it seems like it's been a long time. Basically, someone has to be at the PD to turn those on. And if anything were to happen to that radio that's in there, we won't be able to set those off. So we're looking at maybe a new system or adding to this system where we can have a backup in case the radio goes down, and also be able to set it off remotely in case someone's not there.
That's not tied to the weather service? They're not tied to the National Weather Service?
No, we control them. We're the ones to make the determination whether or not to sound those. I came out whenever the last storm was, and we actually had a tornado warning on the northeast part of Spectrum County, but that obviously didn't include us, so we didn't sound them off. But I believe the system's pretty old. I don't know if anyone was here when we got it. But
It looks old this year. Dick's did. Because he called them sirens.
The no video.
I just remember that part.
Is it still the dial-up still?
Yeah, I've got the radio on and then push buttons to get the sound over. It's an old system, so, and I think Gary has some money for a siren and a pole to go somewhere. And that's what I told him, well, I think our system's pretty old, if we can look at funds for.
How much are you talking about?
I'm not sure, but I believe it's gonna be a lot. And I was hoping there's some grant out there.
This is something that could buy us when things go bad.
There's your place to put you some antennas. Sirens.
But there seems to be a lot of places, and there's 5 or 6 sirens and poles, but it seems like there's just a lot of area that people don't hear them, which I think we have them, obviously throughout the city, you would think that they can hear them.
And the siren themselves are okay, it's the way they communicate and how they're activated, which needs to be updated, correct?
Yes, I've seen where, I think I was reading about Tulsa has some that kind of go on the pattern around, so they project out in each direction. We have stationary ones that are in one direction, which.
The one White House goes around.
Yeah, they
About every 15 seconds, it blows my ears out.
It circles around the pole.
Yeah.
We can see, you're real close to it then.
Oh, yeah, it's like 50 feet.
But we're looking at, see what our system costs when it's,
I think definitely the one that you can activate remotely from, your home or whatever, that set them off. I think that's great.
well, that would help, because when this does happen, we go in the neighborhoods and with licensed sirens, so people start paying attention. And really, we don't need someone down there at that time, but someone's always got to be there to start it and stop it. The torch run, for those that have to get through traffic, is May 24th. It starts in the square at 6:30 a.m., so you can expect it back up. Another warning for you.
School will be letting out, that's actually like the last day of school for most of your son. So it won't be that bad.
The last thing I have is, we have some video of that door that we put in the back room of the oximeter. If you ever seen someone get up and try to run through a door that's not going to open? That happened, or a guy found out they checked their limit and got up and tried to run out the door and finally didn't give. So actually tasers failed, so we ordered some new tasers, but that did happen. That was a good setup there.
Was that during the walk-up with the fundraiser? Was that one of those people?
Not that day.
Okay.
They tried to run out on Officer Wisner of all people.
Oh, I'm good.
That is all I have. Do you have any questions?
One question, we got a gun range update. I know Rob was complaining about that a few months ago, about where we're at on the shooting range and ownership.
Well, basically Fort Smith is in control of the scheduling.
But we own it.
But we own it.
But we own it, yes.
We didn't know if you maybe thought about brainstorm on some way to.
Well, I mean, for me, budget-wise, if we're looking at taking it back over, really, there's not too many agencies that use it anymore. Fort Smith does, and state police. But, the electric out there is minimal, but the upkeep of the road, basically, an unofficial agreement I think they had with the county road department, is they could go down and sight in their deer rifles if they grade the road and keep it up, so it's drivable.
And that's fine.
But that,
I was out there a couple weeks ago, like on Saturday.
On Saturday?
I mean, like 30 cars went by my house in 10 minutes.
No, because
Like a whole group of people.
This is probably considered carry fines. We own this, and this is what I see as a problem. We don't know who's out there, but we own it. And I know John Bailey's been complaining to me that Crawford County's been up there shooting. Is that true?
They have
two ranges in Crawford County use, but they, no.
Now, Fort Smith, the reason they use ours is because they lost their range, right?
I believe so.
Because they had too many citizen complaints about the noise.
The one was on Steamfield Road out there on.
That's the one they
Jack
lost.
College, it was in that curve, and it's been shut down for a long time.
And it was because of complaints from the citizens.
The military will use it some because to use it, to go out and qualify on a base, you have to have a medic and about 8,000 bureaucratic red tape deals filled out to have, to sign in or to qualify out there, so that's why they brought some folks down here, so, which is fine too. I don't even care about the
I just think
ownership.
we
I just
own
like
it
to
without
somebody to
control.
be-
I think if we own it, we ought to control it. We ought to know what's going on.
Or at least pay, get some rent. I don't care if we control it or not, at least
Is that
charge
area
somebody.
used for anything besides shooting? So they go down there and just hang out by the lake and have a picnic?
It's got a fence on it.
No,
Yeah.
We're gonna be down
we
there.
had our range days last week and grilled out stuff down there when they're qualifying, but, really, there's so many locks on that thing, I don't know who has access anymore.
Yeah, I would, I think it's the kind of thing that I get in control of again. If you want to do it in a way that makes enemies of our neighbors north of us, I mean, I kind of like, I'm okay with people using the shooting range, but it would be nice to know who's coming, you know, kind of be the ones that schedule it.
Like what I had talked to you about that day, about all the profanity over there. I really think if we own that, we ought to go over and say, well, let's see, these two guys were using it, it must have been them, I'll give them a call. So, because we got a lot of people going out to the lake, and here I had people working on a volunteer project, and you had all that profanity over there. They're excited, I mean, I'll give them that, they must have shot something, I don't know. And,
Our plans for that lake area, there's gonna be more, at some point, hopefully we fix that bridge, and at some point the trail goes across the bridge to the other side of the lake, and there's gonna be more and more over time traffic out near the shooting range, and sooner we get a handle on what's going on up there, probably the better. Is that, how hard is that gonna be to do if we pass it?
Well, I mean, I attempted to at least get control of the schedule, and it didn't go well. And I had to start to dig up ownership and.
so you
Didn't go well with the Fort Smith PD.
So as you say it didn't go well, but we go down to John McKinney's and have a sign saying, this is owned and operated by the city of Greenwood, check in with the police chief, Will Dawson, at this number, and you hang that sign out there. That's how you gain control, right?
Cut the lock off, put our lock on.
Is that the kind of thing that's really bad for about a week or two and then it gets better, or is that the kind of thing where we made some permanent, long-term?
I think I'm pretty upset over it.
The police chief?
No, the police chief didn't have anything to do with it. It's one of their SWAT guys. It's the two guys that are president, vice president of the Range Association. And basically the county took their stuff and handed it over to Fort Smith PD and said, we don't want to do this anymore, here you go.
What is the range?
And it originated, there was the U.S. Marshals, Sebastian County, and us in the Range Association.
What does that association do? What do they?
It runs the range.
Homeowners
They
Association.
take dues, and which the dues aren't very much now because no one's using it.
They take
So-
dues on our range?
Do we get
The
to
city
do?
turned it over to the county, and then the county they'll turn over to the city of Fort Smith, that's where I was at.
Did we turn that over in writing? I mean, is there a document that says the
Anything
county?
I can find and.
Are we pretty sure
I've got some
that
documents.
this is always organized shooting going on down there, not just somebody who happens to be in the police thinking this is a good Saturday to go out and shoot my guns? Is it?
You know, there's gotta be.
What's keeping us from going down there and putting a fence around there?
Nothing if we have time to do it.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, section off part of that to where we put a fence around it, make it nice.
I have documents in my office about some agreements and things, so we're gonna.
I mean,
Well,
I'd like to get rid of those backup.
I think the actual ordinance showed the property that we, I guess, took from Hollins back then. The actual legal description is actually in the middle of the lake. I don't think it is that property. So that was one problem.
Before the dam was raised?
Yeah, boy.
see, there used to be a range on the other side before the dam was raised, where that bridge is, there was a shooting range over there.
Reservation position.
They would have counted all the bullets.
I mean, and I don't know if that's talking about, I mean, because used to, where you have to stop now where the water is, you used to drive right over the low, there was a bridge, a concrete bridge, you could drive across, because you could drive all the way down the east side of the lake, all the way to that bridge. And that gun range was right there on your left, or right-hand side, as you was going down that road.
And it's still there, but
It's still there.
the area's there, but it's right beside the pavilion now.
Yeah.
There's no one comfortable to shoot them from.
I don't know if that legal description was for that, because, I mean, Holland's on that whole route anyway. They wasn't real happy about some of that to begin with, so.
Well, they did call me about automatic weapons one day, and that's what started my talks, we're trying to figure out.
But my thought is, I mean, if we own that, I mean, you would think anyway that we would probably possibly maybe want to put a fence around it to begin with, so.
Is
If
there
we
a
are
law?
down, because like Doc's saying, I mean, this growing out that way, and all the trail systems and all stuff, it eliminate somebody just coming in from the backside and, you know. I mean, I know we're gonna have to accommodate for the asphalt road on the south side of the range there. I mean, I understand that, but I'm just saying that.
In fairness, the one that was in Fort Smith on Steep Hill Road got shut down, right? Because a bunch of folks were complaining about it. Why should Greenwood take the heat from Fort Smith shutting down their range? We shouldn't, you know. Maybe we will make some people mad.
I'll complain
I don't
to my
know,
residents.
but I don't know, I think we ought to at least get a handle on what's.
I mean, I'm not the least bit interested in doing away with it because I think it's a necessity for these guys, because we gotta have it. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
We gotta have it somewhere.
I'll work bills before we do away with it, but I don't see any problem myself. If coming in there and if we own it, like Mike was saying, putting us a fence up, and if somebody wants to come shoot it, they're gonna have to come through him.
And can we not tell them, like, okay, January 1st,
This is
2017,
what's gonna happen.
we take control, give them time to find another place?
Well, I guess, I think, to me, though, it sounds like we need to make clarification of,
Right.
do we own it or do we not?
And making it where understood, like Doc said, I mean, we don't want to burn no bridges with the state police. We don't want to burn any bridges with Fort Smith, we don't have to, but just make it understand, look, we own it.
Yeah.
So that's the way it's gonna go.
I think the consensus is we want to gain control without hacking everybody off, and we want you to do it.
Well, I think the approach you take is we are getting some complaints, and we don't want them to be in a situation they were in like in Fort Smith where the thing just gets shut down. And this is a way to compromise on that. We're not looking to try to keep people from coming down here and using it. We just need to get a handle on who and when so that I can go back to my citizens and try to keep this thing open, because otherwise it can spiral out of control, and the next thing you know,
Why
you got
wouldn't
a
we
bunch of
treat
folks up
that
here
just
wanting to
like
shut
the
it
dog
down?
park?
Nobody wants that.
You gotta reserve it.
And rent.
Well, they do that.
That's what they're doing.
They're just gotta pay rent, reserve it, and rent. Through
We're
us.
not getting any money.
Yeah,
We're pretty sure there's a schedule in there reserved, because I guess one of the concerns I have with people are just, got a key, and everybody's got a key, and they're just saying, hey, let's go out and shoot some guns this weekend, and there's a handful of them going out there and shooting, and it's not real organized, and they're cooking out and grilling.
They told me the other day, a
having
church group was out.
Because I think some of that kind of stuff is going on out there where folks are having it's a recreational event with family, and that bothers me a little bit, I guess.
It's just like the gate going in up there, like Will was talking about. It's got a wheel on it, it's got like 10 locks. If you got a lock on it, you take that lock off, it's got a hole in it, and that deal slides through. So there's like 15 different people's got the combinations to it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got all these people, and
Turn it over to Parks, we'll start having waves down there. We'll schedule some
Fire.
I'm definitely not in favor of shutting it down. I'm like, y'all want to take control of it so that we know what's going on for that very reason.
Hey, that ain't the worst idea I heard today. Turning it over to Parks.
I think
Letting the Parks Department rent the deal out to people. You pay us.
We own it.
Congratulations, Richard.
Actually,
I'm not interested in putting the police range in parks.
I'm not either.
I've seen an agreement, there's something in my file.
We need-
Reason got to take care of the gun range.
Not joke, go for money.
Why not? You could.
As Mike said, how you remember it, Lester, you rent it out.
It's so long ago, I don't remember. I remember one of the
80s, it seemed like it was.
I hope it wasn't 70s. If you'll give me what you have, Charlotte, and if you'll get with me, then I'll contact the city attorney from Fort Smith and see if we can do a tactical way to not put Will in the hot seat. If they get mad, they get mad.
Okay, I'll find something that's really good and I'll email it to you.
Hey, gentlemen, Mike, Mr. Handy's offered to take what Charlotte's got in her office as far as legal things and get with Chief, and then he will contact City Attorney Fort Smith and try to get it done.
Yeah, and that's get everybody involved.
Yeah.
All in the head room.
There you go.
I mean, all of it, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you, the street department, wow.
And do know, I know Chief already said it, but back on, I don't want to rehash it, but be aware that we will be revisiting this dog issue again, because it's not going away. I had another conversation with the gentleman at that Humane Society recently, and we're still calling stepchild. So
What's Scott County got going? Humane Society.
I don't know.
Everyone in Mansfield?
10 to 10.
So they have a pet rescue on, and they send dogs to Minnesota. They deliver them like out of state, like to Minnesota and different places.
They was dogs down there?
I was wondering the same thing, I don't know.
Jared utilizes a place to rescue and shelter. He's using every option he can.
I mean, honestly, what's Mansfield doing with their Scott County? It's about as far a drive as it is to Fort Smith.
Straight, they drop them off the Greenwood City.
I think it's a honeycomb street.
I think Councilman Daniel has a.
That was my thought, but.
They're dropping them all at my house.
That's another option. I mean,
So you're not gonna.
go south, it's our north.
Oh. Okay. Michael, did I promise you just something earlier before the meeting started, like you needed something? Okay. I think everybody in the room spoke. Jim, do you have anything?
I just, what are we doing with that registration money we register all those dogs with? I mean,
We paid.
that money?
People actually register their dogs.
We take a lot of it to Fort Smith and give it to them when we drop dogs off. We get charged for that, which
I
is.
think the rewards and recognitions, or whatever you call that, should be at the end of the meeting.
So we'll have somebody here.
3 people who stayed here that didn't have to.
I think so too. We should recognize and award them for it.
Citizens who stayed to the very end.
Hey, you notice the one.
Seriously though, back to the roads, Tim, out on Denver, the way I look at it.
Jim Reynolds is speaking.
But you go out there and you start thinking, okay, that's a major road in Greenwood. If we can't take care of the major roads, what are we going to do about the secondary roads? Because seriously, I mean, my roads in my housing development are deteriorating. And I think, wow, if we can't take care of that main road, what's the value of my home going to be in 5-10 years?
And even if
I can't sell it.
Even if we can't do it with our street department, we need to go ahead and get some kind of bidding going and get whoever does the paving to pave it. Like I said, we've got this tax for it. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, just need
That's a concern of me. And when Joe was there, I live on the end of a cul-de-sac, and we have all that water drains down that cul-de-sac, right down past my house and into the pond there at Austin Louise Park, that pond. And of course, the city owns 15 feet or 8, is it 15 or 18? Yes. 15. Okay, 15. Back. Well, one day they was tearing up the concrete in one of my neighbor's driveways because the water line busted under it or something. And I just asked him, I said, look, if you'll, with the excess concrete that you'll have from doing that, come over here and do 15 feet back and I'll never bother you again. Well, I went to work and I came home and did they do it? No. So then we had an agreement where when everybody's grass clippings and everything came down the end of the cul-de-sac and piled right there, about twice a year they'd come and dig that 15-foot back and all that water would drain off that cul-de-sac and go in the pond. That happens twice a year. The last time I put in an order, Charlotte remembers, I think,
And I put in an order, and I waited a month, I waited 2 months, and I thought, well, maybe they just forgot. And I said, so I talked to Joe, and Joe said, well, I don't know who made that agreement with you, but we're not doing that anymore. Okay, so when that water backs up about 4 foot back in that cul-de-sac, and I have to wade about shin deep in water from my driveway out to the cul-de-sac, and that water sits on that road, what do you think's going to happen?
I even asked you if you had wanted to say, I didn't.
I said that, but I mean, it goes back to streets, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm all for doing main streets, because I know mine's not going to get it.
That may fix my water feature issue right there. That sounds like fun.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're fine. No, we gotta hear that. We gotta hear those things, splash pad. Okay, we've done that. Council forum?
Yeah, one thing I've gotten is, unfortunately, the people that usually stay left early, but Stephen Westfall and his wife, I was just talking to him after the water committee meeting the other day. I was just wanting us to, however we want to do it, maybe revisit the agenda additions. Obviously, there wasn't enough, there wasn't very many tonight. Everything else has kind of dragged this meeting out, but we get an email with the agenda. I got this from April 20th. So that's however many weeks ahead of the meeting. And then we've got this was a great day tonight, just 3 or 4 additions, but sometimes we'll get 10. So I'm just wondering if we can go back to the old deadline Friday before Monday or something. I mean, if we don't know by Wednesday before the Monday meeting that what we're gonna need, and, you know, I don't know how much stuff comes in Thursday, Friday. I just like to have that thing set in stone earlier, so we don't have to go even worry about these agenda additions. I mean, unless it's some kind of emergency deal, just tends to make the meeting drag. Now, I'll say all that, but if you haven't turned in early, then you've still got 15 points on the agenda, but at least save time having to go through it, having to go up to speed for peace. We were talking, Stephen and I were talking about how the meetings drag out. Part of the agenda additions is some of it. Anyway, I don't know what y'all's thought on that is. I just throw it out there. We used to have the agenda meeting where we'd come in here and set the agenda the week before, and then we'd have tonight meeting.
And those were equally long meetings.
Yeah, we'd hash out even if it should even be on the agenda, which I kind of like.
But the agenda additions, it's just everybody that wants something on there,
Right.
they need to get it to me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There needs to be a hard deadline, like Wednesday at noon, the Wednesday before the Monday meeting at noon, it's over with.
Yeah, but the problem is, a lot of things are pressing issues that really need the business.
I can't imagine how they can pressing the Thursday and Friday before the meeting.
No, Black Farmers Bank is waiting on this resolution, and I didn't have it, the resolution for the sake of.
Well, I don't think we need this packet 2 weeks in advance.
I met with pretty early this time, because I was going to be gone.
You're suggesting that there's a cutoff and there's just actually, you just don't accept any agenda additions after you get.
Well,
I mean, I'm not saying
Unless
it's bad.
it's something just, I mean, it's gotta be done. Some of that stuff
Well,
is not
if you want me to,
that pressing, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I asked for agenda additions on our Monday. We have a department head meeting on the days of council meetings at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so I asked if there's any, we try to get them on, at least that we're aware of it. It still doesn't necessarily keep from happening. We still have to, if I ask for it and Richard's got one, he's still got to come up and add it officially. But if you want me to critique those on Monday mornings, to say, okay, guys, let's really visit this. And I'm fine with that, to say, if this is important, then we absolutely have to.
Unfortunately, I don't care. I'll sit there all night.
Well,
but I like the people in town that want to enjoy the meeting, to be able to stay here.
Hear the whole meeting.
I can care.
Well, I'll give you another suggestion. I agree with what you're saying, but in the name of not being sat here at 10:15, we've tried this, I guess, over the years, a consent agenda. There are certain items that don't need a lot of discussion. We tend to ramble and chase rabbits, but you can.
Enforcement, that's what you're suggesting.
Having a consent agenda, we vote on the consent agenda, and all those items in that agenda are voted or passed.
When does this consent vote go on? We can't do it early.
During your meeting.
During our, I mean.
Yeah, you get it. That don't.
Like, you got old business and new business, you may have a consent agenda that says, these 5 items are on the consent agenda. We've read it. We've been giving the information, we know what it is, it's not a surprise. we've all talked about
When
it.
you determine it's consent, though, that everybody's gonna vote for it.
Well, it gets placed onto that through,
A list.
Not polling before the meeting.
no, but, you know, like you've got, if you had, we had some stuff that was second reading tonight. Right? A couple of things, second reading, first reading, those sort of things, okay, it's moving, it's just gonna move down the agenda. And before the meeting, instead of, if you have some firearms ordinance, I'm pulling this, I wanna pull this off the consent agenda and to put it down on the discussion item. In other words, these aren't things we're gonna spend 15 minutes talking about, or 35 like we do.
Right. I agree with that. I mean, that'd be fine too. Like I said, I don't care, I'll sit there all night.
I asked our city attorney, he goes to, how many? Great.
Right now, I go to 4 different.
So, and I know they're smaller towns, and they probably don't have as much, I'm not saying that in a bad way, they may not have as much, but is there ways that you see that we're dragging it out other than dragging it out?
What I hear mainly is the department reports. That's what labor your meetings on, that's what the Westfall, I go to church with the Westfalls, that's what they complain to me about, is they don't think there's a need for all those department reports to everybody.
Could we submit those in writing?
We have attempted that.
We've talked about that, and
Three different times.
council doesn't always agree, I'm not saying it's a bad thing either, but there are opinions on that.
Just like two tonight. Took an hour and
I've been to several meetings, the best brand meeting that I've observed is down in Medina. They have an airport board and a hospital board, they have more department reports, but they're limited to 3 minutes, and that's it.
The department heads?
Yeah, they come up and you've got 3 minutes, and that's it.
Then block up here in front.
Yeah.
With the exception of questions.
In fairness to the
obviously.
department heads, a lot of times what lengthens the meeting is not their report, it's the
Questions.
questions that we have. Sometimes that generates the most positive part of the meeting, is this dialogue that we have back and forth like we did with the street department tonight.
Like we did with the firing range.
Yeah,
Most of the time when we do ramble on it, we get something positive out of it, that's why it's, or we would have showed up.
My thought on the agenda deal was just, I mean, just have a little organization to say, all right, well, I know I'm gonna get this put on there, and then if something comes up prior to that, if it's an emergency, fine, it's not, we'll just hold off on it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some of that stuff just, it's like, oh crap, I forgot to put that on there, and just throw that on there, and so it adds to the length of the deal. And what, I get what Tim's trying to say, I mean, just try to get it all together beforehand, get it to Charlotte so she can have it put on there and be done with it.
I'd love to put it on there.
I think department heads giving us, you know, a written report of anything or telling us, you know. I mean, there's some things that departments do that are, you just do. We don't need to know that, right? We don't need to know if you're gonna go Mobile Park or whatever, that's what you do. And then maybe we have an opportunity, just like Citizen Forum is. Anybody got anything they want to bring to the, anybody in the department heads have anything they need to bring to us, just like a council.
We have a
forum.
department head forum,
Yeah.
and then we can just, rather than have Chief Stewart get up and give his little thing.
I think so these guys feel like they're obligated to talk to us.
Yeah, right,
you know,
we can just, I think that's a good idea, maybe having.
So a written report from them in your packet.
And it don't need to be an essay,
Right.
just, you know.
And then a forum where only the ones that need something.
Yeah, or
to
if
tell
you
you,
have
or
questions.
you call them,
Yeah,
instead of every month, every single one.
yeah.
But you'd like them to be here.
Yeah.
Let's double dip it in my book, they're gonna be here.
As far as your numbers, like calls and all that, like today's meeting.
I don't think you ever,
Extended this weekend, so I don't have all the numbers.
I don't even think you
Yeah, I don't
should,
care so much
Well-
about, we can just have that written.
maybe not, but I don't think you should ever feel obligated just because they're here to have them come up, because they are, I'm speaking, because I used to sit out there, it wasn't, I was okay with not coming up if I didn't have to, even though I'm
Especially
here.
if you got your home center. What about the other two places I see where we could maybe cut some time is, I understand the history of why we started asking the Boys and Girls Club and senior citizens people to come. There was some very good reasons for asking them to come and give some accountability, but their reports monthly tend to be very similar now. And
I
think
prefer
they
those
feel
are-
obligated to come because of some of the stuff's having effects, but I would be okay having them come rather than every meeting. At this point, I would be okay having, I mean, I want to hear from Gary, I want to hear from the parks, I want to hear from Michael.
Have to do it every quarter?
Yeah, quarterly maybe, try to get the Boys and Girls Club and senior citizens to come. I'm sure they'd be relieved, and I'm comfortable waiting and having them come.
Why can't you have them do a written report monthly?
Yeah, that they can do, sure, and that would cut off
That's
some
about 2
time.
sections that are taking up over an hour
And I have a feeling that the folks from both those places would be like,
Oh, yeah. Because the cities I talk to, the city clerks I talk to, their meetings are 30 minutes to an hour long, and they are just blown away by our 3 and 4 hour meetings. They don't understand it. Yeah. For the great city. No, that's
so do we want to agree to try to let the Boys and Girls Club and senior citizens consider off the hook and move them to quarterly, and we'll count this as the first quarter.
I'll review our
I think
procedural
what you're
rules
looking
and make
for
sure.
from those entities is that if someone walks in here and says, what did you get for your
Yeah.
15,000?
Yeah.
That we can
And there was a
pull
time
something
when we
out
couldn't
and
say anything, and I think now we have a lot more things we can say.
Well, I still think those three items you're talking about, you know, Boys and Girls Club, senior citizens, that's 10 minutes out of a 3-hour meeting. It's not gonna really shorten our meeting that much, you know. What I'm
I think
saying
we
is,
have a variety of problems.
if we're addressing pretty much 11 or 12 items every meeting, it's gonna take time, unfortunately.
Yeah, right.
I think the only way I see to get out here earlier is to try to start at 6:30 or start, you know, a little bit earlier on that, because I mean, all these things that you take one topic and say, hey, throw 5 minutes at that, you know, I mean, there's.
Some things you have to just discuss for a while, I mean.
And we are gonna chase that rabbit down, you know, when we get the fire range that I didn't know about, or didn't ever realize that, you know, 2 streets in our town that are heavily traveled or private drives, you know, I think there's some things that we just,
We
you know.
discussed
Okay,
this
so-
since 5
I was gonna say, we spent 30 minutes talking about what our meters are talking. So, let me ask a question, please. Since I do the agenda, would you like me to email the committees and the department heads, ask them to send me their written report monthly for council? They no longer are required to show up unless they would like to.
I like hearing the
Face to
department head
face.
reports. I just wish they'd be shorter.
So you don't want a department
I
head?
like the department
So you
heads
want-
being up here for questions.
You want them limited
Do you want
to?
them to give a report, or you want to just have the
I
park?
just think we need to have some time now and say, look, I
In
mean,
the forum,
I
Michelle,
wanted to
cut
give a report, I just want it to be shorter.
Tell us what kind of information you want in that report, what you want left out. Let them get along, what you want.
Anything that's not routine.
Okay, so what are we, I don't even know where we are. 'cause-
Like Daniel said, we don't care if you mow Bell Park, we just want to know, hey, this is my issues with the trail. We're going to,
well,
we're working.
I mean, Richard's report was a very good report.
Yeah, he didn't talk about stuff.
You know,
I don't think I mentioned mulch grass.
it's a bullet point list of this is what we're doing.
I think that was probably 3 minutes that you give a report, right?
At the most, if that.
See, that's nothing compared to this whole meeting.
No,
That's
we talked
nothing.
longer about.
But if you guys
short
had-
meetings.
We
multiply
talked-
times
We talked
7,
longer about,
20 minutes.
So,
Well, Will's wasn't that long.
I would just like to say, can we possibly meet sooner? I mean, is 6:30, impact a lot of people?
it impacts
Well,
me.
we're probably getting now as of the summer months coming up, there's more daylight for the self-employed guys. That's the reason why I went to 7. Now, the weird thing was we didn't move to 6 for the winter months when they had to close up shop earlier. But, I mean, I remember we used to do that for the.
Speaking of work, I gotta be at work in Fort Smith at 11. So
well, I don't know what y'all
have to cut
can
out.
do. Do you want me to do anything different or not? I don't know. Some of you do, some of you
I'd say if we
don't.
get out by 10 o'clock every meeting, I
I like
think
the
that's
department head
good.
reports, I just wish they'd be shorter.
Okay, then you want me to notify committees and ask them to just.
I would be okay with notifying the Boys and Girls Club and senior center. Do that quarterly.
I just wanted to have given agenda set, still on.
let's see up here.
Before I adjourn, and the spirit of thing, I want to add 9 more things, no, I'm kidding. I do want to say Bob Beams, and no, they're not here, but Bob Beams and Lewis Harris did a fantastic job in the car show this weekend. There were, I don't know how many people in town that weren't normally in town on that evening, The Burnout was a huge success. If you did or didn't see that, Jim Reynolds provided music over there. There was stuff going around all over. People were lined up as if they were.
We all got together and built on a successful car show and extended it into the evening.
And I'm looking forward to that to keep going, because that's an awesome thing, and it was awesome. And I would entertain an adjournment, or a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have it. Let's go home.
John, I made you. I got my contacts with my glasses.
Right there.